Okie dokie. Come on. Son, I'd like you to step away from this vector and get into a different coordinate pronto.
leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat your ass. I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat you. I will eat your ass. I'll barbecue your ass flat. I will cook your ass up so fast, and I'll tell them, oh, I killed a cow out back, baby. You think Christ would eat somebody? He would never do that. I will. I'm ready to hang them up, gut them and skin them and chop them up. You know what? I'm ready. I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat your ass. I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat you. I will eat your ass. I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat your ass. I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat you. I will eat your ass. And that's why I want the globalists to know. I will eat your ass first. I swear to God, if it's the last thing I do, I'm going to get my hands around your throat.
I am muted. You bastards. You muted me. No, you didn't mute me. I'm back. There we go. I'm not muted anymore. Hello. Good morning. And yes. The little mustache in the middle, Sumami. The little mustache in the middle, you nailed it. We need compilation of songs with Trump, Kirk, Fuentes, Patel. I have one with Trump, the wall one. It's just kind of old. It's like, we need to build a wall. We need to build a wall. We need to build a big, beautiful wall. Yeah, that one. I don't usually do the songs myself, though. The only song I've actually did the song myself was the pronouns guy, what is his name? Heels versus Babyface. Yeah, he's the only one that I actually did the song part myself. The rest of them I find the songs and I kind of put together. With the Alex Jones ones, a lot of it's the videos already there. So I'm not like, I don't want people to think I'm making this stuff whole cloth. They do take a long time to put together though. Oh, you're going to start riffing to my silent monologue? Aw. Was it that bad? You just look at my pretty face? Was that so bad? Is it so bad to have to look at all this going on your screen? I'm sure a lot of people would rather look at me, listen to me talk. Anyway, Good morning, my beauties and bees. It is a Saturday, September 27th. It's currently 8:39 a.m. here in the mountains of the western United States. I want to say, that this is the last, this is the last live from the Hive. Is this the last show at all in September? No. I have Charlatans Web tomorrow. Not tomorrow, Monday. Surprise guest for that one. So nothing listed yet. So you have to wait. You have to tune in to see Charlatans Web 6 p.m. 6 p.m. Mountain Time. So what that's 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern, and then 5 p.m. Those people on the West Coast. But we are covering the Raelians, so that's going to be wild and crazy. Wild and crazy. I can't let I talk for so long with the mute on. I'm such a bad girl. I need to be punished. So right now, one of our roommates is out on a trip, so it's just me and Ben. So last night we're like, oh, what do we want to do? And we decided to go to Oktoberfest. I know it's not October yet, but there was live music at the place that we go here in El Paso to hang out. It was a small crowd, so we made some friends. We went there and we had some drinks and watched live music and danced a little bit. Then we went to another place where there was karaoke, and freaking Ben sang the King George's song from Hamilton, and oh my god, it was so good. He freaking nailed it, you guys. He nailed it. We need to get a recording of him singing that song, because it's like written for his vocal range, and the audience was going nuts for it. I tried to sing too, but I can't sing for shit. That's why I play musical instruments instead. Yeah, that's why I play music. Somebody come flog me. I've been so bad. I've been such a bad girl. But it was a fun night, but I'm a little hungover, just a little bit, because like I said, we made some friends and they bought us shots, bought me a margarita, and I'm a little feeling a little bit of that, what they call brown bottle flu. So that is happening. You're gonna flog me with feathers and pillows? Oh Lord. That sounds lovely, actually. You know what, though? Let's go to the polls. Is it time for polls? I think it's time for polls. Let's do this. CrypticCorner. There you are. And is it not on here? What was that about? There we go. Yeah, it's on there. It just now said it was connected. That was so weird. Like my ear this one. Anyway, check out my cute earrings too. They got spiders in them. You can't really see in this light. I could make it darker in here and do that, but I kind of like have a little bit of natural light coming in. Give my natural glow. I'm gonna show you all my polls. So let's do this. Hold on. Okay. No. Almost got demonetized. Yeah. Sumami, I get you. All right, so before I get started, this was the quiz poll. These quiz polls that I've been doing are based on the most recent show. So which one of these is actually known to exist? We have the Maltese tiger, the blue tiger, the black puma, black cougar, black mountain lion, whatever you want to call it, and the white cheetah. All right? Now, the one of these that's actually known scientifically to exist, I'm surprised that, I guess it's because nobody actually watches the show, just votes on the polls. No, I don't know. But the white cheetah is the real deal. White cheetahs are very, very real. This is a Lewistic cheetah. But yeah, black pumas are not real. They're not a thing that exists in nature. They just don't have the genetics for it. So far, the blue tigers are not known to exist either. They do have the genetics to be. They're not really this bright blue, but it's to make it stand out though. There's kind of a like a slate blue, like a marble blue. What's the blue I'm looking for? Give me the name of the blue that's almost gray. Not like Arctic blue, but Arctic blue would be closer than what we're seeing here, though. But historically, there are known. That's the CrypticCorner alarm. There are known blue tigers, but we haven't seen one. So, like, historically, there's reports of them, like, even being in captivity and stuff. Good morning, Helen. All right, but let's move on to the polls. So later on in the show, about the halfway point in the show, I guess it could be, is our Week in Weird, where we cover some weird topic. Sometimes it's a conspiracy, sometimes it's a alternative history or occult practice. It could be generally anything that doesn't go into CrypticCorner is going to go in here. Yeah, any type of woo-woo claim that I feel like debunking. So this week, Helen joined the Cryptic Creepers. Yay! All right, so this week, the new person on the block was the lost city of Shangri-La. That's a kind of a Himalayan, I guess would be the best way to put it. Chinese Himalayan legendary lost city, Lost Valley. So if you want to know about that, I mean, it's not is well known in the West as something like Atlantis or Lemuria, but it's really interesting once we dive into it and look at the folklore, because the fun part is there's actually a city that it's based on, but we'll get to that when we get to that. The vampires of Tartaria didn't get too much votes on the polls this time. When I talk about like lost civilizations and stuff, Tartaria was basically alternative history. Chinese. Yes, Shangri-La is a Chinese city. It's in the Himalayas though, right? I mean, that's what everything I've looked at everything I've looked at so far kind of insinuates that the real city of Shangri-La is in the Himalayas. Anyway, but Tartaria had vampires. If you want to know about them, go check this out. Oh. And then we got a tie for first place. We had the Crystal Powers, which is like, basically we're going to look into legends about crystal healing and folklore around that and stuff. So if you're interested in that, sort of alternative medicine, Tibet. The real Shangri-La's in China, though, right? Am I wrong? I mean, it's Tibet, which China occupied. But, yeah. Then we have our winner. But, yeah, Tibet's not China. I agree. We have our winner, which was Tarantism. Now, this is a dancing plague. This is specifically a dancing plague about spiders. If you got bit by these spiders, then it would cause you to go into this dancing frenzy, and you wouldn't be able to break out of it. You would just keep dancing and dancing and dancing until you die sometimes. Till you die. Dance some more. Damn, I'm sexy. Look at that tummy. Sometimes I feel fat, but I guess I'm just bloated. All right. But we're going to move into CrypticCorner in here in just a minute. So I wanted to go ahead and just look at the polls for that. Because the new kid on the block, the spook lights of... there's spook lights everywhere. My favorite spook lights are in Joplin, but that's just because I'm a Missouri girl, and that's where I'm from. Not from Joplin. No, I'm from the exact opposite corner of the state. You could actually, you can't get much further from Joplin than where I grew up and still be in Missouri. But Missouri's the Missouri. But spook lights are these weird orby lights that float around in the distance, and they're a lot like the will-o'-the-wisp phenomena. They're a lot like foxfire phenomena. We've covered will-o'-the-wisp on the show before. We could do foxfires, but that's like a real thing that actually happens. That's like St. Elmo's fire. It's a real phenomenon. There's all sorts of stuff that happens up in the upper atmosphere that's wild and crazy that we don't talk about. Now, Goatman is still on here, and despite how sexy he is, he's still not doing good in the polls. Goatman is still not winning people over with his abs. Maybe I should, when I do the poll next time, I should slide it up so you can see his abs, because he's pretty and maybe instead of calling him Goat Man on the poll, I'll call him Goat Twink. If I call him Goat Twink, maybe people will vote for him. Would you vote for Goat Twink? No. The Men in Black are still on the poll, and every week I have to remind you all that this is not the Will Smith superhero team that, you know, of humans that fight aliens. The Men in Black of folklore, of ufology folklore, are much more sinister and potentially not human at all. So they're on the poll. But this week, the Thundercrow won the poll. Thundercrow is like the crow version of the Thunderbird. So we're going to get into that in just a second. So if you want to... Did my mouse do the thing? Hold on. My mouse does this weird thing where I have to take the battery out of it and pop it back in. The good mouse I got, the one that was gifted to me by someone in the live chat right now, I believe. I think that they might have gone to lurk mode. The mouse that they got me was awesome, and then I had nail polish remover spill on it, and it melted it. Like I had my back to it because I spun around in my chair doing my toenails. And the bottle was sitting right here. It hit the microphone, and it knocked over the bottle, and it soaked into my pad. Luckily, my mouse pad was spared because my mouse pad is freaking awesome. Look at this. It's crystal. There we go. Crystal Palace dinosaurs. So I'm glad that it was spared and it didn't like bleach it or ruin it or anything. It actually survived the severe acetone attack. All right, so Thundercrows. Yeah, we're going to get to the Thundercrows. But if you want to participate in the polls, am I louder now? If you want to participate in the polls, all you got to do is you come out here to Hive side, you go to my community page. It'll always be in the post sections. Usually they're up on by Sunday. A lot of times they're up by Saturday. Sometimes they're not up till Monday. Depends on how I'm doing mentally. Whether I'm up for it or not. So, and I also post awesome dank ass memes. And here's another poll. This is the poll for next week, though. I just went ahead and got it started. But you can come vote on it. Which shapeshifter from what is your favorite shapeshifter from folklore? And we're gonna do a little blurb about it. Whatever you all pick, I'm gonna do a blurb about it at the top of the show. I'm actually trying to do the intro stuff for the first half an hour now, and start Cryptic Corner closer to the top of the hour, just to keep things more in check. It's a 3-hour show, so if I do, most segments are about 45 minutes to an hour, so it should balance out. But yeah, you can come out here and vote on polls and learn cryptozoology facts, learn bug facts, ecology facts. Sometimes I'm just memeing, but yeah. But the most important thing is to come out here and participate on the polls, because you can choose what we cover in the coming week just by a click. And if you got more than one account, you can do it more than once. I'm not judging you. I'm not coming at you. Eric Wanderer. Oh, goodness. Yeah. Eric Wanderer, welcome to the Hive. Everybody in the Hive can do all the cool Bigfoot stuff and Mothman stuff. We got we got footprints. Yeah. Thank you for joining. Yeah, sometime on the Friday nights, Friday night Cryptic Corner. I might not always be there for the premiere because it's Friday night, and we kind of go out and do stuff on Friday nights here. So I might not always be there, but I like to keep it going and keep that premiere going week after week, so people do have a place to go. So people do have someplace to call home on a Friday night, even if there's nobody live doing anything. So it's always one place to fall back where, you might run into some friendly faces. Sometimes nobody shows up. Sometimes I get as many people as I have in the live chat now. It really depends. But I'll always try to keep it going. Even if I can't make it, I'll always try to keep it up. All right. So, with all that said and done, I say we move into Cryptic Corner. I'm ready. It's 5 minutes till. We'll go ahead and go. Yeah, we'll go ahead and go. Oh my God, are you serious? I'm muted again? I hate this program. I'm switching. I don't care. I don't care. I don't even want to do OBS anymore. I hate you. All right, from the top. I'm sorry. No, it's me. It's me. I'm like I said, I'm hungover and ugh. All right, from the top. There used to be an alert I could have sent. But I gotta, yeah. Anyway, I'm not muted anymore. I can see myself. From the top. Aren't I fun? All right. Hello, my beauties and bees, and welcome to another installment of Cryptic Corner, where we explore the world of the unexplained, supernatural, paranormal, and hidden, the mysterious, the alien, the accursed, and the forbidden. I'm your host, Miss Bumblebee, and this evening we are looking at a phenomena I wasn't even familiar with really until recently. I had never heard of it. It's something called a Thundercrow. I imagine I'd heard the accounts or read the accounts at some point, but I never put that, oh, this is a different phenomena than thunderbirds, because they seem to be, kind of similar, I guess. But watching these videos, learning a little bit about it from American Strangeness. Yeah, and people usually be like, oh, Bree, she's the one who knows all the cryptids all the time. And this is one that I was not, familiar with at all. So, like, you're watching me learn about a new cryptid. Now, there's 2 videos here on the subject. One from 3 months ago and one from 1 month ago. We're going to watch them chronologically, though. So, I guess it doesn't really matter. But Thundercrows in Washington State. Let's go. Better unmute that, too.
Resembling giant crows or ravens have a long history in North America, most recently on the Olympic Peninsula. Today on American Strangeness, new Thundercrow sightings in and around the Hoh Rainforest in Washington State.
Thundercrow is also a band name, by the way. And I do appreciate Buffy references in the side chat. Absolutely bring it. Did you guys know Sarah Michelle Gellar just did an interview where she said that they just finished shooting the Buffy reunion. It's not a reboot, not a remake. It's just Buffy picking up with the gang 25 years later. I don't know if I think it's probably just going to be a one shot or mini series or something. But yeah, they're bringing Buffy back. Buffy is my like one of my favorite shows. I don't want to say it's my favorite show that was ever produced, because I liked X-Files. I liked Fringe. I liked Supernatural. But Buffy has a special place in my heart, for sure.
I've written previously about Thundercrows, the name I've given to giant mystery birds that resemble crows or ravens.
Well, that might explain why I haven't heard of this before, because he came up with the term. Okay, so I don't know how I missed that when I watched this through. I guess I was more interested in parsing them. They resemble, so it's a Thunderbird phenomena, but they resemble corvids, so he calls them Thundercrows. Okay. Hello, Simply Secular Dave says, lurking for the Canada versus England women's rugby finals. Elbows up Canada. Why is anybody watching this when that's going on? I love watching Buffy. Yeah. I can be Buffy and you can be Willow. House bells.
These are a subset of the avian cryptids known as thunderbirds, a variety of gigantic, unidentified birds collectively named after the elemental beings of Native American tradition. Frank Grays, the cryptid hunter, told Mysteries of Canada writer Hammerson Peters that he reviewed...
And we've covered a lot of Hammerson Peterson. Not a lot. We've covered a fair amount of Hammerson Peterson, though. Last one was the skeletons. Remember the skeletons, guys? The giant... One of them was giant, anyway. But there were, lots of animated skeletons from Canada. Why is Canada so full of animated skeletons? It's kind of bizarre.
The infamous Thunderbird photo that cryptozoology forefather Ivan T. Sanderson once had in his files, and described the dead bird pictured hanging on the side of a barn as a big black bird like a raven, with a wingspan between 20 and 30 feet. I think thunderbirds are ravens. They're just giant ravens, Graves said. The cryptid hunter might have been on to...
The physiology of a raven doesn't work on that scale, though. That's why when you look at the wings of larger birds like this, they get longer and narrower the bigger they get, and they depend more and more on soaring and riding air currents, right? So if it had wings proportioned like a giant crow, I'm not completely sure that it would be able to get airborne. I mean, I'm not the scientist here. I'm just saying. I'm not like I don't study aerodynamics or anything like that. The boys are playing. I'm gonna close this. The boys are playing outside. Henry and Ben are playing soccer. A little darker in here. That's okay though, because like I said, I got a hangover anyway.
Something. In May 2025, I was contacted by a new Thundercrow witness revealing a compelling recent history of these birds sighted in and around the Hoh rainforest on the Olympic Peninsula in western Washington state. Marshall, whose identity I have validated but wishes to use a pseudonym, is a lifelong resident of Washington. He works for a large manufacturer and is a part-time mining prospector. In 2016, Marshall was looking to purchase a retirement property that offered solitude amongst the beauty of nature, abundant wildlife, and mineral opportunities. He was drawn to the Olympic Peninsula.
Did you just say mineral opportunities?
Spending us in mineral opportunities. Amongst the beauty of nature, abundant wildlife, and mineral opportunities.
What is the deal with minerals here lately? I've never heard that word so much in my life. It's like, Trump's gonna take over Greenland for minerals. Gonna go raid Canada for their minerals. The Russia's invading Ukraine because it wants their minerals. It's why is the world so obsessed with minerals? I mean, I get it, they're cool, whatever, but I'm just whining. I'm probably preaching to the choir as a stupid leftist environmentalist. I think that that they should just, for the most part, be left alone. I don't know, just a thought. The sun provides all the energy that we need for burning. Yeah, I know, lithium and stuff like that, D. I know. And yeah, to build freaking solar panels, you need minerals. It's just like here's what I'm complaining about. I'm watching a video about Thundercrows. This is my escapism for the week, right? This is where my brain gets away from the topics. And there it is in my face again. Oh, they just discovered how to create sodium batteries. Interesting.
He was drawn to the Olympic Peninsula and was spending a sunny, clear April afternoon hiking a trail through the Hoh rainforest, just south of the Hoh River, although this was outside the Hoh Indian Reservation. At about 1 p.m., Marshall walked around a blind corner.
Hoh River. We're going to look. All right. I'll bring it over. We'll check it out. And forget about minerals for just a minute while we look at hoes. Who's with me? Hoes before minerals. This must be the Hoh River. The Hoh River overfloweth. Where does it flow from? Mount Matthias. Okay, so it goes around the base of Mount Matthias. There's the Hoh rainforest. Ooh, there's lots of trails out here. Let's drop down. I want to see. I love the Olympic Peninsula. It's one of my favorite places. Look at all that. Everything's covered in moss. All shaggy. Look at that. God, I love the Olympic Peninsula. I need to go there. Everything's all moist. It's the moistest place. Look how moist it is. Let's go to one of these more isolated spots. Oh, look at that. Oh my God, it's so beautiful. If I was a Thundercrow, this is where I would want to live. Florida is thrice as moist. Yeah, but Florida has so much heat. It's nice and cool up here. And cool and moist, so the fungi grows. I know y'all have a lot of big moss and stuff hanging too. All right. Anyway, sorry to get distracted by how pretty this place is. Let's get back to our crows. Crows before hoes. Am I right, Hive? Am I right? Crows before hoes.
Reservation. At about 1 p.m., Marshall walked around a blind corner on the trail and stopped in his tracks when he saw something shocking and inexplicable. Perched atop a large 10-foot-tall cedar stump that stood along the trail, an aged remnant of the forest's periodic harvesting, with 2 springboard notches cut into its trunk in a blue huckleberry bush growing at the base, was the largest bird he had ever seen. "Its back was to me, and this thing was big," said Marshall. A quote-unquote average country boy who knows his animals and is familiar with all the large birds seen in Washington, Marshall knew this wasn't a bald eagle, the California brown pelican, or the turkey vultures that arrive in the summertime. "I can tell you one thing, it was not any of those birds," he said. "It looked just like a giant raven. I was 15 feet away from this bird. It turned its head, and I saw a red..."
And this is going to be a repeat of one of our earliest episodes, because I think I have an identity for the creature, but we'll get to it.
Slash under its eye. There were tufts of feathers behind its beak.
Wait,
Turned its
what?
head, and I saw a red slash under its eye.
Okay.
There were tufts of feathers behind its beak, just like a raven would normally have, and the blackest eyes I've ever looked into. Just to note, the feathers on the beak were likely rictal bristles, which are morphologically similar to mammalian whiskers. The enormous bird stood more than 4 feet tall, with folded wings that stuck up above its body, giving it a hunched appearance. The bird stared at Marshall for a breathless moment, then turned its head and spread out its wings, revealing a stunning 12-foot spread that rivaled the greatest recorded wingspan among Andean condors, the largest...
And his scale was this tree stump. But I guess it's the AI rendering of the event, though. So take it with a grain of salt. But proportions.
birds of prey in the world.
Remember what I said about proportions earlier and how a raven's body doesn't have the proportions to fly effectively at that size. Let's see. Just gonna catch up on the chat real quick because y'all are talking about moist Florida. Let's see. Sumami, it's very moist right now. Every day I get wet every time I leave the house. I prefer it over snow. I really do live here, and I hate I just hate the politics. Oh, you really do love living here? Okay. Condors are massive in comparison to corvids. I agree. Girl, I hate Tampa, LMAO. I've lived here my whole life. It stands. It stinks.
which also stand around 4 feet tall. The bird ascended from the stump, and every time those wings flapped, they compressed the air with a deep whoosh, said Marshall. About 10 flaps, and it coasted over the treetops and out of sight. Marshall was extremely curious about his sighting and thought about the thunderbird that is a central figure in many Native American beliefs. He contacted the nearby Hoh Reservation and spoke with an elder who confirmed...
It's funny because it's H-O-H is how it's spelled, but the AI keeps spelling it like this. And it's like the Hoh Reservation. I mean, come on. When the AI spells it like that, the Hoh Reservation, I'm loving it, and that's where I should go. I should go put me out to pasture on the Hoh Reservation.
The notion that this enormous raven could be considered a thunderbird. He asked, "Do you have any Native American blood in you?" "And I do, at least 1/8 from the Cherokee tribe," said Marshall. "Well, that is a good thing," he said. "It means you will have extreme luck." Marshall achieved his dream just a few months after his encounter with the Thunderbird, purchasing 60 acres of forested land along U.S. Route 1.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that when we get to the man-eating python segment of the show later on. If you're watching this in CrypticCorner, you'll have to go back and watch it and go find the python episode. But, yeah, there are dwarf and giant specimens. We're actually here out in the Southwest. We're wrapping up our monsoon season, so we have little desert storms that roll through. Phoenix just got flooded. Vegas got hit last night. So all down here in the Southwest, we get hit with these little storms that just roll off the mountains every now and then.
101, about 1 mile east from where he encountered the giant raven. Aside from a tourist-heavy summer season, it's a quiet, natural area where he can live off the grid and enjoy the powerful glow of the late-night starscape. While Marshall only experienced this one sighting, others have seen the giant corvids, and on his very own property. The following summer, after moving in, Marshall and his daughter were sitting around the campfire one afternoon when she urged him to look up at the sky. Marshall didn't see anything, but his daughter told him she had spotted the biggest raven she had ever seen, and it had a red slash under its eye. And I had never told her about my sighting, said Marshall. And there have been
The consistency of the red slash under the eye is pretty interesting. It doesn't go doesn't go along with my thoughts on it, but let me check something here too. I'll let it play.
additional sightings as recently as May 2025. These encounters were reported to Marshall by Walt, also a pseudonym, a naturalist and caretaker of the property who Marshall happily inherited from the previous owner. Walt, who lives in a one-room cabin, periodically cooks pancakes and shares them with the birds that congregate outside. One day, he is just about to put out the pancakes and 2 monster birds show up, said Marshall. They appeared to be a nesting pair, a male, standing over 4 feet with wings that span 12 feet, when spread and when folded protruded well above the top of its body. It had 2 sets of cat-like whiskers or long feathers at the top base of its beak, with a red slash under each eye. The female was smaller, under 4 feet in height.
Why is the female smaller? Maybe you got them mixed up, because in birds usually the male is smaller. I'm gonna check, make sure. Which sex is smaller in corvids? Okay, I was wrong. That's okay, though. It's fun to learn new things. In most corvid species, including the common crow, male corvids are larger than females. This sexual dimorphism means the smaller sex is female, though this size difference can be slight, making it difficult to distinguish between male and females without DNA testing. So, yeah, I'm wrong about many things before I finish my first cup of coffee in a day. So it's okay to be wrong and learn new things, as long as you're willing to learn new things and readjust your position on stuff based on the new information. That's the important part of this. That's what I'm trying to teach people here. But yeah, I was wrong. Let's check on New World vultures, though. New World vultures. In New World vultures, the smaller sex varies depending on species. While females are typically the larger sex in most birds of prey, New World vultures display a mix of sexual size dimorphism. So that's what's just in birds in general. The females tend to be more robust, I guess, because they have to be able to carry eggs and create eggs. Sometimes huge eggs, like when you look at like a kiwi, they create a monster egg. But even a corvid egg, still pretty large object to pass through your body, or to pass out of your body. Cosmic Kyle's here. Hello, Kyle. All right.
And with a wingspan of around 10 feet. She was all black, no red slashes, but also displayed a couple sets of cat-like whiskers / long feathers at the top base of the beak. The corvid pair appeared twice in recent months, while the male hung cautiously back, watching.
The whiskers are interesting too, and very distinct. I'm thinking about adding these to my fantasy races, like, because I got my Bigfoot people, and now they can live alongside the Thundercrow people. Yeah, because they have a very distinct appearance. The giant corvids with red slashes under their eyes and cat-like whiskers. Love it.
The female partook in the breakfast treats. Now, I did ask if Walt would agree to be interviewed, could take photos or videos the next time the birds appear, or might agree to Marshall installing a trail cam. But Marshall explained that Walt eschews technology and is intensely private, so he would likely not agree to such evidence collection. However, Marshall did say he would utilize trail cams to look for the birds on other parts of his property. Marshall said that other locals have seen these birds and discussed them among themselves. Why come forward with these sightings now, if this bird is a new...
Like, the whisker part of this is really interesting to me. Because the types of birds that have whiskers or rictal bristles. Let me pull some info up on this. Okay, here. Got some science here for us. Sometimes I throw science at you. Surprise science! I learned the other day that blah, 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 blah. Now, lots of birds have bristles around their jaw and face, such as this barbet, which is right here. These are called rictal bristles because they are located on the rictus, the gape of the mouth part. For many years, it was thought, and logically so, I think, that the bristles that surrounded the bird's beak served as an insect net or sweep to scoop up insects as the bird foraged through the air. It made some sense when I started graduate school, blah, blah, blah. Exactly how do these work? Talking about an experiment they did with it. I know y'all are sitting here watching me read. I'm trying to figure out, because I've always thought they were for insect eating, which would be interesting regarding this Thundercrow, because how would it attain such a huge size as an insectivorous, as an aerial insectivorous feeder? Right? I mean...
species, it needs to be studied and protected, said Marshall. Just what are these giant ravens, sighted in Washington state and in variations throughout North America? Are these dark-feathered giants managing to stay mostly hidden in the continent's remote forests? And do these mysterious Thundercrows have a deeper, mystical connection to the ancient lore of North America's native inhabitants?
I like to think that they have supernatural powers. Sure, let's do that. Let's go with that. But there's a part 2 to this, so we're not done.
As a final note, I just want to say that I am truly honored when eyewitnesses reach out to me to share their Thunderbird accounts. It's not easy to trust a stranger with an anomalous, often private experience, let alone write about it for the world to see. I always try my best to convey their stories with accuracy and dignity. This is Kevin from American Strangeness. Have a great day.
Thanks, Kevin. Yeah, and rectal bristles are not to be confused with rectal bristles, by the way. If you have rectal bristles, that's for something completely different. But here's part 2. This was just from a month ago. Thundercrows over North America.
A compelling number of giant bird sightings across North America describe massive crows and ravens. I am excited to share research conducted by both myself and my friend and fellow Fordian, Hammerson Peters, regarding our mutual fascination with the long history of thundercrows in the
Bro be loving on some Hammerson Peters.
U.S. and Canada.
Don't get me wrong, I like Hammerson Peters too. He brings me all the cool Canadian stuff. Yeah, we're filling out our Canada map. If you look, I keep a world map of all the places that we go on the show and all the things that we look at. And if you look at my map, we spend a lot of time in the eastern half of the U.S., probably because where I'm from and where my culture comes from. But we're starting to fill out some Canadian stuff. Starting to fill out some Australian stuff, too. With good old Jamie from Tantanoola Tigers. Yeah, Jamie's helping us fill out. I need more Africa for sure. And definitely more Asia. This is the biggest landmass in the world. And there's tons of cryptids just in this little region right here that we could cover. And or cryptid sightings, and I just don't have them marked or haven't covered them yet. Europe does pretty good, especially the UK. Look, you can't even see the islands because I got so many places I covered there, but it's not really as bad as it looks. I mean, like, this is all just London, right? You'll see the same thing over here in the New York area. It's all this area right here, kind of the same deal. South America, I barely have anything either. Anyway. Oh, no, we're done with that one. We're done with the rectal bristles. Here we go. That's where we were.
Today on American Strangeness, thundercrows over North America.
That's what I'm saying, Equus. A lot of, like, when I think of rectal bristles, I think of nightjars and flycatchers. Swifts. Swifts have little bristles around their mouths. And I think of riding a bicycle with my mouth open through a swarm of mayflies. If I found Nessie, maybe I just wouldn't tell anybody because Nessie and me would go on secret adventures together and do all kinds of fun stuff. Yes, please send me cryptids that you want to see covered. Or they don't have to be cryptids. They can be ghosts. They can be aliens, UFO sightings, any kind of unnatural encounter or quarantine encounter. Send it to me. Even if it doesn't even have to be an encounter. If you know about some folklore or whatever, just send it to me so that I can help fill out my map of weird and wonderful sightings. I do gotta say, I like with the Africa part. Let me go back real quick. Like with the Africa part, yeah, there's not a lot here, but like this one covers like 6 or 7 different African cryptids that I've talked about, but they're all just known from this, well, not necessarily from here specifically, but from this river basin, right? They're known from the Congo River basin and the dense jungles that surround it. So, I mean, I could do an individual heart for each one, but it'd be kind of redundant since I don't have locations, because most of these stories come from the age of like the Great White Hunter. And they were just like, oh, I was in the deep jungles of the Congo River Valley or whatever. And they might give like a north of the river, south of the river. But they don't give too many details about where they are. Just that they're in the dense jungle. So you have to kind of roll with that. But so there's more cryptids here than represented here than actually what I'm reporting or what I'm showing. It's deceptive. All right. Where was I? Here we go.
Not long ago, I reported on a spate of recent Thundercrow sightings around the Hoh rainforest on the Olympic Peninsula in western Washington state. To refresh your memory, witnesses described these birds as looking like enormous ravens that stand more than 4 feet tall and possess a 12-foot wingspan. They had distinctive red slashes under their eyes and whisker-like tufts of feathers behind their beaks. A witness I spoke with saw one of these birds from only 15 feet distant, perched on a tree stump before it soared powerfully away. The main witness, who was part Cherokee, conferred with an elder on the nearby Hoh reservation. This elder confirmed the notion that the enormous raven could be considered a thunderbird and signified good luck for a Native American. The avian cryptids known as thunderbirds are a variety of gigantic unidentified birds.
And we have covered thunderbirds here before. We've covered, let me see. Not thunderbirds, Okay, so we have just one. The Illinois thunderbird. And can I get a link? Yeah. All right. So again, it shows my bias because of where I grew up, but Illinois is also a place that's full of cryptid sightings, proportionally more than probably than is probably fair. There we go. There's dinosaurs in the middle of Africa that eats people. Mokili Mimbe. Well, there's a lot. There's in Africa. Mokili Mimbe, Kasai Rex. Hold on. But Mokili Mimbe is definitely the most famous of them. But yeah, there's Kasai Rex, Mokili Mimbe, Emila Nutuko, Nagamo Monin, Kongamoto. Well, Kongamoto's a pterosaur. We have Mabulu. It says it 3 times. Mabulu. And then there's the beast. Well, the Karoo's not really Congo, but yeah. So there's quite a few cryptid creatures that roam the Congo. Some of them do fly. Thunderbird Hoh Reservation. The Hoh Reservation. Yay. Thank you so much, Left-Handed Jedi. I'm going to be in the Hoh Reservation when I retire.
Collectively named after the elemental beings of Native American tradition. Through years of research, I have noticed that a subset of these giant birds resemble corvids, and I have named them Thundercrows accordingly. Admit it, it's catchy.
I love it, dude. Yeah, I'm giving you credit for that too. American Strangeness. I might even go out here to the Cryptid Wiki and add it in there if it's not in there already. Is Thundercrow in there? Thundercrow. Nope, there's no Thundercrow article, so we're gonna go. Maybe we'll go out there and add that for you, babe. Mr. American Strangeness. What was his name? Kevin? Yeah, Kevin from American Strangeness. Yeah, we're gonna add
Thundercrows have a surprisingly long history. Descriptions of the elemental and powerful thunderbird varies throughout the oral histories of indigenous tribes, most often manifesting as a giant eagle or an anthropomorphic man. However, Hammerson Peters uncovered several references to corvid-like thunderbirds.
Except the one in Alton, Illinois. That dude looks like a lion, kind of. It's like a mountain lion with a human, sort of a humanish face. Let me show ya. Yeah, Piazza. Where are you? No, not copy image. Open image in a new tab, for Pete's sakes. Like a dude in a kayak being carried by a golden eagle on the screen, but I want to show you all. Jesus. No, zoom out. Christ almighty. Hold on. We're going to find a different one. That one's crazy big. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. That one's perfect. So, this is what Thunderbirds looked like in most Native, or not, shouldn't say most, in the folklore of the upper Midwest. Right? Antlers, tusks, beard, feathers, wings. So it's hexapodal because it's got 4 sets of legs. And I'm assuming this is supposed to be the tail wrapped around it, right? But this is native artwork from Alton, Illinois. Pretty wild looking. So thunderbirds aren't necessarily, like from mythology, aren't necessarily just giant birds or giant eagles. They're something. They're generally something a little bit different.
First Nations traditions. Per Peters, American politician and ethnographer Frank Bird Linderman, yes Bird, included an old Kootenai tale from the Columbia Mountains in his 1926 book, Kootenai Wise Stories. Linderman, who trapped north of Flathead Lake, Montana in the late 1800s, said the Kootenai described thunderbirds as massive crows which take on the appearance of dark clouds when they prepare to make lightning. In their 1909 article on the mythology of the Blackfoot Indians,
that is the Piazza bird, left-handed Jedi, absolutely. Piazza bird. All hail Bigfoot. Hey, if you have the ability, drop some Bigfoot tracks in the side chat. Let me see how many channel members are here live right now. Show me some love if you're a channel member. I want to see it.
American anthropologists Clark Whistler and D.C. Duval described the thunderbird as appearing in the form of a large, dark cloud. And in his 1994 book, The Amazing Death of Calfshirt and Other Blackfoot Stories, Canadian historian Hugh Dempsey wrote that the Blackfoot regarded the crow as a messenger of the thunder spirit. Anthropologist James Teat wrote in 1905 about the thunderbird tradition.
That's just a cool title. Messenger of the thunder, or messenger of the thunder gods, or what do you say? Should put on the closed caption here too. Let me go back and hear that title. Messenger of the thunder spirit, not thunder god.
Anthropologist James Teat wrote in 1905 about the thunderbird traditions
there's my
of the
Bigfoot
Shuswap,
footprint.
a First Nations people from the interior of British Columbia. Teat stated, per Hammerson Peters,
Who's your buddy? Good to see you, babe. Love to know that you're here watching. Hell's Bells, brand new to the Hive. Love you, babe. Native atheist, woo woo, and giving me that pride moth too. Love you, baby. Love ya.
The conception of the thunder is the same as among the Thompson Indians. The thunderbird is large and black, and
I recognized that voice. That's Hammerson Peters right there.
covered with down or short downy feathers. Some part of its body, according to many, its head, is bright red.
cryptozoologist and biologist Dr. Carl Schuker include
Carl Schuker. Carl Schuker's my boy. Me and Carl Schuker DM on Twitter. But he won't come on the show. He wouldn't go on the show when Dawn was on, I should say. Dawn's pretty rough on Dawn is pretty rough on cryptozoologist though. He is. I love Dawn. Don Prothero, who wrote some books on cryptozoology too. But let's see what Carl Schuker has to say about it.
into a 2012 report on the Crypto Dominion website about a mystery species it called the British Columbian giant raven. Though qualifying the story as a piece of local folklore, Crypto Dominion stated that massive ravens, larger than golden eagles, inhabit a valley that is rich in timber and nestled within the interior of British Columbia. Bush mechanics there claim to have encountered these birds and describe them as dangerous, very opportunistic, and unhesitant to tear apart a campsite. They are nearly flightless, stated the report, and have much red in their tail plumage. Crypto Dominion suggested that the British Columbian giant raven is a specialized species which developed in the isolation of their home valley. Note that...
They say they were flightless? Yeah, it does say they were flightless. Okay, let me knocking my makeup over. I left all my makeup out all over my desk, by the way. It's fine.
Are nearly flightless, stated the report, and have much red in their tail plumage. Crypto Dominion suggested that the British Columbian giant raven is a specialized species which developed in the isolation of their home valley. Note that in the Hoh rainforest sightings, the male ravens were reported to have red plumage, albeit around their eyes. Also, those birds were quite capable of flight, but the similarities still raise an eyebrow. The Shuswap description of the Thunderbird is also notably similar to the 21st century British Columbia accounts of giant ravens.
So some of them are flightless, I guess. Maybe the ones that were flightless were a subspecies of the flighted ones, and maybe they're extinct now. Could you imagine finding a giant giant raven skull? That'd be so cool.
Possibly reflecting a surviving native tradition in the same region. Does the Pacific Northwest hide a species of giant raven, possibly the elemental thunderbird known to the Shuswap? Teat also collected a thunderbird tradition from the Thompson Indians of British Columbia and Washington that is eerily congruent as pertains to markings, if not in size. As read by Hammerson Peters,
The thunder is said to be a bird a little larger than a grouse, and of somewhat similar shape. Some describe the color of its plumage as wholly red, while others say that it resembles a female blue grouse, but has large red bars above its eyes, or has a red head, or some red in its plumage.
there have been numerous sightings throughout North America of birds.
That doesn't sound like it's describing the same bird at all. I said it was blue and red. I mean, given jays are corvids, right? Like blue jays are corvids. So most corvids are goth, but blue jays decided to go more punk rock with the blue hair, which is cool. It's cool. You all rock your assholes. All corvids are pretty much assholes, though. They're just really smart and don't take human shit, but, you know. But this sounds like it's describing a different bird. Slightly larger than a grouse is not a large, I mean, it is a large bird, a larger bird, but it's not, like, significantly large. It'd be about the size of a chicken, right? Flightless birds are often found riding bicycles, says Spooky Bed here. Only in the UK, though. They don't allow flightless birds to ride bicycles or even be in the bicycle lanes at all here in the US.
Described as resembling large crows or ravens, or that might fit the profile of a thundercrow. Let's review some of these cases. Gerald Musinski, who chronicled the thunderbird phenomenon in north-central Pennsylvania's Black Forest, wrote that regional lore claims
And that was one of our very first episodes. I think it's unlisted because that was before my transition. But I might re-release it. It gives me a little bit of dysphoria, but let me see. Let me see how bad it is. Oh man, that's old-timey Cryptic Corner intro. Alright, so this is Unexplained Mysteries site. No. I'm not sharing that one. I think it's unlisted now too. It's set to private. I may re-release it with some edits. I don't know. But it was episode episode 1. Literally episode here. It's not gonna hurt to show you guys this much. Literally Beast of Pennsylvania, episode 1. Which is about the big black birds in the Pennsylvania Black Forest. But this is super old. When did this air? Does it even give a date? I don't know. Anyway. So we did cover that. I may have to re-release that with some edits. Actually, you know what I might do? I might do a re-release of that with this and like cut them together as one segment with this. With the edits when I do this episode, when I edit this episode. I might. We'll see.
Twain, while writing on a rock in present-day Ravensburg State Park, and Edgar Allan Poe, while visiting the Po Valley, possibly named for his ancestors, sighted immense blackbirds in Pennsylvania. Frank Graves, the cryptid hunter, told Hammerson Peters that he reviewed the infamous Thunderbird photo that cryptozoology forefather.
And maybe I should just redo an episode about the Pennsylvania Thunderbird. I don't know. We have stellar jays here. They're blue and with black mohawks. Yeah, those are cool. Surely there's been more data found by now.
Ivan T. Sanderson once had in his files during the mid-1960s. He described the dead bird pictured hanging on the side of the barn as a big black bird like a raven, with a wingspan between 20 and 30 feet. Several men from the Old West posed before it. "I think thunderbirds are ravens. They're just giant ravens," Graves said. The cryptid hunter might have been onto something. Cryptozoologists Dale Drinan and Sam McConnich, a member of Drinan's Frontiers of Zoology group, swapped stories of similar thunderbirds they saw over Ohio in the 1970s.
And this does remind me a lot of the Thunderbird stuff in Illinois. And that we actually talked about the Mark Twain thing when we talked about the Illinois Thunderbirds, because Mark Twain's from the Midwest.
During his childhood, McConish spotted a large blackbird flying low over the Ottawa River near Toledo, and it was something like a crow the size of an eagle. It was all dark and had a fully feathered head, with a wingspan of about 10 feet across. Drinan, on his lunch break while working as a counselor in downtown Toledo, saw a giant bird that looked as big as an airplane flying approximately 500 feet above the downtown buildings. Drinan estimated that the bird possessed a 16 to 24-foot wingspan. The bird was all...
Wow. And that would be like the largest living bird alive. But people are terrible at estimating the size of the things from a distance. Humans are just not good at it at all.
Black and glided effortlessly across the Maumee River directly into the path of a thunderstorm, a choice that puzzled Drinan. The lightning could be seen in the distance, and the bird seemed somehow drawn to it, said Drinan, who referred to these creatures as West Coast or Raven Thunderbirds.
I, too, go towards the storm sometimes. Lightning is a draw.
Early afternoon during the summer of 1997, a group of friends camping in the forests of Mount Harriman, New York, spotted a large bird perched at the tip of a tall tree not far from the road. The bird didn't linger, but a witness estimated its wingspan was between 10 and 16 feet. The witness stated that they were...
And that would also be the largest bird alive today.
very familiar with the turkey vultures of the area, and this was not one of them. The witness said that the feathers were a uniform black throughout and looked more like a giant crow than a bald eagle, although the silhouette of the head was more along the lines of an eagle, I suppose. In July 2010, a witness in Texas saw a black bird that...
So it had a head of an eagle? Not the head of a corvid?
Looked like a giant crow fly over their swimming pool. The pool was 27 feet wide, and the witness estimated that the bird's wingspan cast a 35-foot shadow. The bird shot up in...
That does not mean that the bird was 35 foot, though. A bird that's like 14 inches can cast a big old shadow over your pool, depending on the distance up.
in the air and flapped its wings several times and headed southeast. Shane Regehr, a resident of Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, was riding his ATV off-road in the mountains near his home by the Seven Tubs Recreation Area on a sunny summer day in 2016. About an hour into
Where was the location? Seven Tubs?
was riding his ATV off-road in the mountains near his home.
Looks like we're getting Pennsylvania recovered here anyway, so win-win.
By the Seven Tubs Recreation Area on a sunny summer day in 2016. About an hour into his journey, Regehr was traversing a wide dirt path that had once been used as a railroad track in coal mining. As he came around a bend, Regehr saw an enormous bird drinking from a puddle on the path. Startled, the bird lifted into the air, struggling to take off. Regehr hammered on the throttle to keep up, the bird being no more than 50 feet in front of him and 4 feet off the ground.
And I believe this may be the story that I covered in the Beast of Pennsylvania video.
It was so black that the sun brought out a bluish-purple tinting on the wings, much like the iridescent plumage of crows and ravens.
Okay.
Regehr was unable to get a good view of the head. The bird had a 10 to 12 foot wingspan and a thick body. This wasn't a turkey vulture or eagle. It was something Regehr felt did not belong, and most importantly, did not want to be seen. The bird glided down
Did it have burning eyes, though?
the mountain path and then off into the forest like a plane. The sighting lasted less than 30 seconds and still haunts Regehr to this day. At dusk, around 4 p.m. on January 16, 2018, Tabitha Bauer was driving through the Mendenhall Valley of Juneau, Alaska, when she saw a
Now we're on the opposite side of the country, opposite sides of the continent in Alaska.
huge jet black bird flying toward her.
And all these places are going to get added to the map, right? We'll add them to the map. All the Pennsylvania and Washington State and Alaska locations.
It was level with the treetops over a shopping district on Mendenhall Loop Road. She described it as the size of a small airplane, its wingspan at least 20 feet, nearly the width of the road. Bowers said the massive bird was not a raven or an eagle, but much larger. It had black feathers, short tail feathers, and a body that was 6 to 8 feet long, but she couldn't discern the beak. The bird appeared to be following
Maybe it was a winged humanoid.
the roadway over the town, then flapped its wings and flew a bit higher at a fast
I prefer to not be seen most of the time, too. I decide when I want to be seen, and that's when I'm all preened and pretty. You wouldn't want to see me when I'm not. Y'all ever seen, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia? There's a character on there named Frank Reynolds. That's what I look like when I'm not dolled up, so, yeah.
cliff about 50 feet above her car. She last saw it heading toward a glacier. It was the biggest thing I've ever seen in my life. It was very concerning, said Bauer. Fortean researcher, podcast host, and Mothman authority Ashley Hilt shared her own sighting of an enormous
Mothman Authority, I'll have you know that I am the Mothman Authority, right? I am the world's leading cryptozoologist, and I think Ashley Hilt can kiss my ring. I'm just saying I don't really know much about Ashley Hilt. Like, it looks like maybe I need to look into her. But yeah, as far as the authority on Mothman, you're looking at her, babe. You're looking at her, so.
enormous blackbird in Ohio. At about 2 p.m. on April 5th, 2021, she was driving down Marshall Road in Kettering, Ohio, on the Kettering-Centerville line, when she saw a large crow land on a utility pole. That's when she realized the bird had a wingspan that was twice the size of the horizontal part of the utility pole. Hill estimated the wingspan at being at least 12 feet. Before it had tried to land on the pole, I would have just been happy assuming it was a regular crow, she said. And that just goes to show how simple it would be for something like that to fly under the radar, because
And those, how big are those crossbars on electric pylon? dimensions. All right. Let's see here. There's something with a scale, though. Because I'm sure they're standardized, you know? What are they called? All the charts on scales and sizes for them I'm seeing are given dimensions for the big ones. If it was one of those big ones, that'd be crazy. No dimensions. I'm sure it's standardized, but oh. I don't know. Maybe that's something I'll have to come back to later. Finding the scale on those. If I do, I'll like pop it up on the screen here. No sense in keeping you all staring at this car, which has nothing to do with Thunderbirds.
Our eyes play tricks on us while our brains try to reason away what we are seeing. Outside of Thunderbird beliefs, crows and ravens are important animals in Native American stories. Contrary to some cultural depictions of corvids as bad omens, in Native American cultures they were...
I could run start a journal. Get your work peer reviewed in the Journal of Cryptozoology.
often helpful, intelligent, and cherished creatures. Khitan, creator deity of the Wampanoag of New England, sent a crow with the first seeds of corn and beans to ensure their survival. This has been described as a giant crow in one modern account, based on the concept that mythic animals in Native American stories were often the boss spirits of their species, and larger in size. The raven is both a hero and trickster for the tribes of the Pacific Northwest. The
That's
Kwakiutl,
mostly how I hear about crows and ravens and depicted in North America. That's like the standard. Like, I know each group of people groups can have their own lore and folklore about it, but like as a white person exposed, to cultural depictions of Native American folklore, it's the ravens and crows are always depicted as a trickster.
viewed the raven as a shapeshifter whose mischievousness benefited mankind by providing the sun, moon, stars, fire, and salmon. While the story might originate with the Cherokee, the Lenape who once inhabited Luzerne County in Pennsylvania, where Shane Reger saw his giant bird, have a tale about the Monocahas, the rainbow crow. Monocahas valiantly delivered the first gift of fire, bestowed by the Creator, to his fellow animals and saved them from a cold winter, but his vibrant feathers were scorched black by...
If Mothman is searching for the moth wife, I'm right here. Am I not fluttery enough? Do I need bigger wings to attract the Mothman? My hair's platinum blonde. It's basically a lamp.
the flames, and his beautiful voice was turned coarse by the smoke. When one looked closely, however, the crow's black feathers still shone and reflected all the colors. The Thunderbird is many things. First and foremost,
The Thunderbird of many colors.
it is an elemental force central to the spiritual world of Native American peoples. In more recent decades, the term has come to represent a menagerie of large, unknown avian creatures reported by witnesses throughout the North American continent, and creatures resembling the dark-feathered members of the Corvidae family, Thundercrows, if you will, are among a small but extremely compelling number of Thunderbird reports. Just what...
How am they compelling, though? Isn't Coyote also a shapeshifter and trickster? Yes. Well, at least in like Navajo and I believe in Apache lore it is. Coyote is. But they were talking more about Pacific Northwest for the crow, or for the raven and the crow to be a trickster.
are these giant ravens sighted in Washington state and in variations throughout North America? Are these dark-feathered giants managing to stay mostly hidden in the continent's remote forests? And do these mysterious thundercrows have a deeper, mystical connection to the ancient lore of North America's native inhabitants?
Was that just the same thing I read last time? Anyway, that's American Strangeness. I think I'm subscribed. Yeah, I'm subscribed. Talking about the Thundercrow, which has been a lot of their more recent stuff, like right here and here. But, I mean, they cover a lot of stuff. The Flaming Skull from space. Is there a monster in one of America's longest rivers? The Susquehanna seal. What? El Paso, that's where I am. El Paso's buried city and the king of... What? Oh my gosh. That's going on the polls. Holy shit, I didn't know about that. I could go to the I could go on location here. I might watch that after I'm finished with the show. The case of the exploding pig. The gown man and the woman in black. Australia's man-eating tree. I know we've covered that. Teddy the golf cat. There's more Thunderbird stuff that we didn't get to. This channel hasn't been going that long, though. But they're doing better than me on subscribers. Check that out. Got 4K subscribers already. They got a website. Let's go see what that's all about. American Strangeness. Whatever. I'm going to continue. Let's go. Oh, there's a contact me link. Okay, so this has been going on a little bit longer than just the... Well, maybe it has. Maybe they put this website up just now. No, it looks like 2021. And now we know who Kevin is. Kevin Gould. Kevin J. Gould. Now I'm going to be nosy. He's on Instagram. Maybe I shouldn't show you my Instagram, though. It can be kind of naughty. It's got a cute kitty. Yeah, my pictures are all fully animal pictures and stuff, too. And a poopers. So that's his Instagram. He's an author, too. What we got here? No. Didn't want to go there. I want to go just here. The Anthology of Strangeness, Volume 1. Thunderbirds, Lost Temples, and Skeleton Ghosts. Paperback. October 9th, 2024. Okay. So he's an author. All right. All right. Well. Okay. So that's who we're dealing with. All right. But now you're dealing with me. Now you're dealing with Hive Sly. All right. So that was CrypticCorner, Thundercrows, a term coined by Kevin J. Gould, presumably in 2024, of American Strangeness. So there's no cryptid wiki article for it or anything like that. We'll have to fix that. But absolutely intriguing subject matter. I shouldn't just close out without giving my theory, I guess. So this was my theory for the Beast of Pennsylvania too. Just to give it some perspective. So what we're looking at and what people are dealing with is the result of climate change, right? So meet the black vulture. Now the black vulture has not got a 12-foot wingspan. It does not 6 foot long. But it also did not until recently travel that far north, right? And now they are due to climate change, they're making their way up the west coast, making their way up the east coast, even into Canada, and people are seeing them. And since we're used to turkey vultures, which have the red head, this guy with his black head looks very strange and alien. Some people see that, and you can see how someone might say that's corvid-like in appearance, right? Like, unless you get really close and see that there's just black skin on the head. Oh, anyway. So black vultures are my personal theory on what people are citing. And particularly black vultures with their feathers up on their head like that. Like, that's very corvid-like, right? And people in the Pacific Northwest wouldn't be used to seeing something like that. And they do this behavior. A lot of vulture species do, where they sit up in the sit up high and just spread their wings out. And it's a way to thermoregulate. Let me see if they have a picture of them doing it, though. Oh, hold on. Yeah, this was something I looked up, too. It's uncommon in Washington State. They're not native, so seeing them becomes, like, super bizarre. Let's see. Black vulture. They sit like this all the time. Just, yo, like they're trying to start shit. Turkey vultures do it too. But yeah, I mean, you can see a turkey vulture doing it there. But black vultures always look like they're trying to start a fight with somebody, saying, "Come at me, bro." That's the "come at me, bro" stance. And when they sit like that, they also are making themselves look a lot bigger than they are, which can be intimidating. But if you look at the wing proportions of a black vulture, they're not quite as long and narrow as a turkey vulture, which is why I think that maybe that's where they're getting this. Oh, it had more like crow wings than vulture wings, but I don't know, you see that dip in right there where on the turkey vulture, and you look at the black vulture and it kind of fans out. Just wanted to point that out. Anyway, this episode's gone on a little bit long, but that's okay. Yeah, that's CrypticCorner for us. Do you think that this is a new species, a misidentification of an existing species like a California condor or a black vulture? Do you think that it's just people not used to seeing how big ravens really are and seeing a raven land and being like, oh my gosh, that's the biggest bird I've ever seen? Which, when the first time I saw a raven in real life, that's what I thought. I was like, oh, because they're almost eagle sized. They're as big as an owl, right? They're huge. Ravens are huge. Anyway, let me know in the comments down below what you think about Thundercrows and all that jazz. Did I do it justice covering it? Do you disagree with me about my assessment of what the sightings were? I want conflict in my comments. Come at me. I'm gonna stand in full Thundercrow, come at me, bro, pose. So, come and get some. All right. Please remember to be kind, take care, and we will see you next time. Boop boop dee doo. All right. Live from the Hive audience. Thank you. I've kind of not restructured the show, but like I said, I'm going for a longer intro portion where I can talk about more things. So I'm running those little polls and stuff because we'll talk about different topics. But we'll just like touch on them, though they're not going to be like full segments. And also keeping y'all updated with things that are going on and all that good stuff. So thank you so much for sticking with me for that. And the length of CrypticCorner and stuff's not gonna change. I think this one went like an hour and 10 minutes, an hour and 15 minutes. So this was a little bit long, but there's a lot of stuff I'm gonna have to cut out too, so it'll shorten it up. What kind of bird was Big Bird? A forest rocket, a South American terror bird, or maybe a titanus. I think it may be a titanus, which was a terror bird that migrated from South America into North America. They eat little horses and stuff. Pretty wild. I don't know what Big Bird eats right now. I imagine he still eats like meat, but they're not going to show that to kids. Just like how the Count, obviously he has fangs, he drinks blood, but they're not going to show him drinking blood. Oh my gosh, American Strangeness is here. Ah, hey, I just like gave you a plug. I like your channel. I'm Bree. This is Hive Side. We do CrypticCorner here. And I'm a cryptozoologist, so thank you for dropping by. Oh, goodness gracious. It's nice to see you here, though. Did you did I pop up on your feed because Thundercrow is your term? Yeah, I just gave that credit to you, Kevin. And we looked at your website and we looked at your books. So if you were watching that, cool. But if you ever want to talk about any of this stuff, I do live shows all the time, so you could come on and talk cryptozoology with me. Thank you. All right. I'm going to take my intermission now. When we get back, we're going to be talking about Tarantism, which is the dancing plague caused by getting bit by a spider. So don't go anywhere. The show will be back in about 2 or 3 minutes. I just take a little intermission and get some coffee and refresh my coffee. So I'll see you all in just a moment.
Did the evolutionists just kill the pterodactyl? Or did they finally catch up to the creationists?
Obviously, there's not going to be a ton of talk about these things. And the thing is, I do believe there was talk about these things. I believe if we study history, the Confederates were able to shoot pterodactyls, back in the Civil War, and they spread these things out. Anybody can look it up online. They spread these things out, and this is a historical fact. So, they spread this thing out, and it's got a huge wing length. And it's a pterodactyl they shot. So, of course, these things have been around. Now, they went extinct, obviously, slowly, but surely. And so, I don't believe that just because, at some point in time, coming from your perspective, that, just because they stopped talking about it means that they never saw it, when we have all this evidence that they've seen it.
Hello, my name is John Pendleton, and I'm speaking to you from Zacatecas, Mexico, center of Mexico. and today I'm going to tell you of my project to attract and capture a real living pterodactyl dinosaur.
But to the Christian, it makes common sense. Of course, there could be a few still alive. That's the first sighting I've heard of in Fort Worth, Texas. I've heard of them in Arizona. A friend of mine knows where some of them live, and he's going to go catch them and put them in a dinosaur adventure land he's going to build. And I can't reveal the details yet.
They're a form of what people call pterodactyl, but if you consider them descended from some type of ramphorhynch or pterosaur.
Hello. Welcome to our Weekend Weird segment where we discuss something weird that you all vote on from the poll. Now, plagues have always been a problem that have impacted humans as far back as you can see in recorded history. We've documented plagues, and plagues come with boils and sores and illness and decay, right? You waste away. But not historically, not all plagues have been presented as such. Today, we're looking at a plague that is caused by a spider bite, and then it's contagious. How is it contagious? Well, so the spider bite causes you to start dancing, right? And then it spreads to everybody around you. But I'm not going to cover it solo because I have this, of course, I forgot I meant to, we can fix that. Oh, no problem. Okay, so, there we go. We're going to listen to, or going to be assisted by Professor Graham Yorston. Professor Graham Yorston of Insane History is going to tell us about the dancing plague known as Tarantism. All right, let's do this.
I'm Professor Graham Yorston, and today I'm going to be talking about one of the most bizarre medical conditions ever described, Tarantism, or the compulsion to dance wildly in a trance-like state in response to a bite from a tarantula.
I've had a lot of tarantulas in my life, but I've never been bit by one. Before we get into the video, though, I do want to say hello to who's your buddy who sent 10 gift memberships. And those happy recipients are Emberlyn, Mother of Dragons, Karen Butcher, Hellbound Hillbilly, Kristen Slays, Eli Slack, Neil, the 604 Atheist, Anarchist, Gary Priestley, Ian Kiamba, Prixie Volcano Purist, Purple. So all of you all are now members of the Hive. You have access to all the Hive stuff in the section down below. Welcome. You can stomp across there with some Bigfoot stuff. History of mental health.
So I'm joined today by one of my colleagues, Martin Gale, who has brought along one of his friends. Can't say I'm entirely comfortable sitting so close to a big tarantula, but I'm going to do my best to get through this.
I should get Caroline out. Caroline is probably sleeping though. She just had a big meal. Helen got to meet Caroline. Who here has met Caroline besides Helen? If Vandy was here, Vandy met Caroline.
Now, Outbreaks of dancing mania unconnected to tarantulas plagued Europe for more than 4 centuries, but I want to focus on the dreaded dance of the spider bite.
Me too.
Islamic physicians, including Avicenna and Razes, discussed tarantula bites and what to do about them. One cure...
Caroline is my black hole spider. I didn't name her after you. I named her after the song Sweet Caroline. Let's see. Jake, insert clever, dapper inside joke here. Nelson, welcome. Welcome. You are now a cryptic creeper. And Caroline is not a tarantula. She's a black hole spider. An Iranian.
...of smelling human
not
excrement...
Not Iranian, but Arania. Like the spider clade.
...and sitting in a hot oven to sweat out the poison. But the first description of what we might recognize...
My son's band did like a pop goes punk sort of cover of it. Of Sweet Caroline. Yeah. And she's from South Carolina is where she was collected. So yeah. Bop 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 Sweet Caroline. You gave away your real name in my side chat, Sil. Everybody calls you Sil and Sumami, and now you gave away I knew your real name, because, you know, we're real good friends, but...
As Tarantism was by the 11th century Italian physician Pontus, who called it antenismus. It remained a subject of fascination for doctors throughout the Middle Ages and into the early modern era, and hundreds of papers and entire books were devoted to the subject. In the 15th century, the Italian scholar Niccolò Perotti said in his Encyclopedia of the Classical World that those bitten by the tarantula would become stupefied, but at the sound of music they would start jumping.
And also, to be clear, this is coming from an area where real tarantulas don't exist. This was wolf spiders these people were being bit by. Let's see. Lycosa, yeah. European tarantula wolf spider, Lycosa. Let me pull it over so you guys can see the animal we're talking about. This is our suspect, Lycosa tarantula, which is where the name for the large neotropical megalomorph spiders come from. They're named after the species. Lycosa tarantula is a wolf spider. It's a true spider, not a tarantula, not a megalomorph, but an Arania. Key difference is tarantulas, fangs go down. They're more primitive. They have book lungs. Whereas Arania have fangs that go inward towards each other generally, at some degree of angle depending on the species, but they also have spiracles on their body for respiration and no book lungs. They diverged from these two clades diverged from each other like in the Triassic. So they are further away from each other than we are from like a lemur, right? That's how distantly related they are. So just kind of putting that perspective. But when Europeans moved into areas where huge megalomorph spiders lived, their closest comparison was the wolf spiders, so they gave it the same name. And wolf spiders can get huge. There's wolf spiders that get nearly as big as tarantulas. The Sonoran wolf spider that lives in the Southwest, not in this part of the Southwest. I live in the Chihuahua, which also has big wolf spiders, but also has real tarantulas. But they get huge and they're fast. Anyway, this is the culprit. Does it? Yeah, it even talks about Tarantism here. Yeah, the species was first described by Carl Linnaeus in 1758 as Arania tarantula. it was transferred to the genus Lycosa by Pierre-André Detriel in 1806. Charles Athanase Walkmanier in the same 1806 publication described the subspecies Narbonensis, which in 1837 he raised to full species of Lycosa. Oh, I'm reading the wrong section. I'm reading the taxonomy. That's okay. I like taxonomy, but the once traditional belief among Apulian peasants is that a person bitten by one of these spiders must be treated by indulging in a special kind of dancing. The dance, or some version of it, is known as the Tarantilla. However, the bite of this spider is not known to cause severe symptoms in humans, much less endanger human lives. But we're going to get back to those.
And dancing. 100 years later, the physician Pietro Mattioli gave a more detailed description of the variety of ways in which the spider bite could affect people. Some sing, others dance, weep, cry out, or sleep. Vomiting is common.
If you're Coyote Peterson, you go over the top with theatrics about everything that stings or bites you. Maybe there's just a whole generation of Coyote Petersons.
Some patients jump and dance, while others sweat and tremble. Some are in continual fear, while some are delirious, distraught, or behave like maniacs. It was most common in the southern province of Puglia, around the ancient city of Taranto, which is where it gets its name. This was the hottest and most underdeveloped region of Italy, where centuries of deforestation had spawned a plague of spiders in the dusty soil. The spider in question is the wolf spider. It does have...
I love your face! Oh, some boobs. Him needs some boobs. Look at all his little eyes. Such a cutie pie. Aww.
Venom, but it is not particularly toxic to humans, and its bite is no more painful than a bee sting. Martin, can you tell us a little bit about the friend you brought along today?
Yes, this is a Burgundy Goliath bird-eating tarantula.
I love
and its
you.
Latin name is Theraphosa sturmi.
And where's that?
Theraphosa sturmi, Theraphosa blondi. Those are the two largest species of spiders in the world. Of course, there are other contenders. Theraphosa is not the only genus with giants, too. Lasiodora has some huge, they call them LPs, but has some huge spiders as well, bird eaters.
Native to?
This particular tarantula is native to Guyana and South America, Brazil, all around the Amazon rainforest, so mainly a South American tarantula.
Not mainly a South American tarantula, completely a South American tarantula.
So nowhere near southern Italy then. What is the spider that's found in southern Italy?
So the spider that we find in southern Italy is actually the true tarantula, and it's called a tarantula wolf spider, but it is a separate family. It's from the Lycosa spider family, as opposed to these spiders, which are the Theraphosid family. It's a completely different family of spider.
It's not just a different family of spider. Oh goodness. Let's do this. Actually, you know what? Instead of doing that, I'm going to link the video of spider taxonomy that me and R and Raw did. Let's see. Yeah, we're going to do that. The Orange channel here. Is there a playlist for it though? Because it's like a 5-part series we did a couple years ago. I might as well show you all what I'm doing here, what I'm looking at. So R and Raw does phylogeny videos, and I was his assistant and writer on this series here. So, if you want to know more about the differences, oh, I guess I should have labeled it. There we go. And I'm going to pin that for now. I'm actually going to end my persona poll. But yeah, so me and Aaron did. It's not going to be in this video because you have to get all the way up here before we start talking about the divides between different spider groups.
In fact, if they were alive today, I'm sure that we would call them and all of these others, but they don't show any evidence of. You might think they're not there on spiders because most modern spiders don't have that anymore, but fossil spiders had them, and there's one lineage of primitive spiders that still have them, albeit as a vestige of what they once were. These are Mesothelae, a suborder of 100 or so surviving species that are now found particularly by the types of spinnerets that each group has. Notice how Mesothelae has their oversized primitive spinnerets not in the posterior position like all other modern spiders. These is the lampshade spiders and crevice spiders and coponiids that may have only 2 eyes, which is weird for an arthropod, or they could have 4, 6, or 8 years ago. There are 3 major categories of living spiders, and these first 2 primitive ones represent only a tiny percentage of what remains. There is more diversity in the third and most derived or advanced group, Araneomorpha, than in these first 2 groups combined. This illustration is a composite of a handful of collective molecular phylogenetic studies. Let's run through it for this last.
Okay. So that kind of gives you an idea of the phylogeny, just like a quick oversight. And yes, I guess my persona, according to my live chat, is a coyote, which I would have been cool with any of them because I'm those are some of my favorite animals, right? But yeah, coyote.
So totally different then. But what would a bite from an Italian tarantula actually feel like?
Yes, the bite from a tarantula wolf spider is believed to be no worse than a wasp sting.
And how likely are they actually to bite people?
Well, the likelihood of actually being bitten by a tarantula wolf spider is minimal. They're quite small spiders, very skittish, and they're more likely to run away.
There are so very few spiders in the animal kingdom that will actually cause any kind of damage to a healthy adult. And in Europe, that number's even smaller than it is here in North America. But there's the 13-spotted spider, which is it's the Latrodectus that they have over there, mostly more in southern and eastern Europe, which is is a member of the black widow redback family. It's the European version, and it's called the 13-spot spider because it's got 13 little red spots on its body.
Than try to actively bite anyone.
Part of the Tarantism mythology is that the spiders would bite the earlobe of peasants who were having a post-lunch nap on the ground after a morning's hard work on the land. Or the genitalia of adolescent girls lifting up their skirts to urinate in the long grass.
That's a cool looking wolf
In reality,
spider.
Italian wolf spiders rarely bite unless they are continually
That's
provoked.
so cute.
The folklore said that the
wolf spiders kind of remind me of jumping spiders. They got the big eyes and stuff. They just don't jump, but they run really fast, which is what causes a lot of people to not like them. If you suffer from mesothelioma, you may be in mesothelioma. It depends on how nicely you ask. Yeah, meso just means that the middle, the mesotheliae, middle spiders.
The area bitten would turn yellow, sometimes black, and appear swollen and inflamed. Then, anything from an hour to several days later, the person would feel excruciating pain and numbness in their extremities and develop a high fever, shortness of breath, and a weak pulse. They might be pale or
I'm dancing because the spider bit my junk. A spider bit my private parts. Yeah, that's how it works.
flushed, or go blue, or even turn black. Some passed out, others became stupefied and barely moved. Others were agitated and noisy. Many complained of headache or said that their bones ached as if they were broken. And some said they were seized with lethargy. Sometimes the onset was sudden, sometimes slow. The attacks varied, with some victims so morbidly excited that they would sing or laugh and dance continually and be unable to sleep. Others would leap into the air, uttering wild cries, or hurl themselves to the ground, arching their bodies in grotesque convulsions. Yet others would be dejected and weepy. Some would avoid people and seek seclusion. Others would seek out crowds. Many liked being tossed in the air, rocked in cradles, placed in swings, or being hit on the soles of their feet. While
I'm just going to fake it so that people throw a party for me and throw me in the air and dance with me and spank me. 'Cause I've been a bad, bad girl.
few would strike themselves over and over again. Some would dance in the heat and call for swords and mirrors to flash, while others would toll the funeral bell, gnash their teeth, howl, tear their hair, or roll in the dirt. Many writers alluded to the sexual character of the disease, with those affected throwing off their clothes, dancing, shouting out obscenities, or even having rampant sex in plain sight. Although the cause was originally thought to be the bite of a spider, people could also be affected by touching, or even just seeing others who had been bitten,
Yeah, it was
especially if they
contagious.
themselves had been bitten in the past. Part of the mythology was that the bite could never be fully cured while the spider that inflicted it, or its offspring, remained alive. Tarantism occurred sporadically in single cases, but also in
So
massive...
the spider bites you, you start dancing, and then everybody sees you dancing, they get infected by it too.
outbreaks, with most people in a village being affected. However,
Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire are the other people who've played Peter Parker's Spider-Man. I don't know who voiced Miles Morales in the Spider-Verse though.
only occurred in the hottest months of the year and was especially common around the feast day of Saints Peter and Paul on the 29th of June. Dancing was both a symptom of the condition and a cure, but everyone agreed that if you had been bitten, your only hope was to engage in frenzied dancing or face certain death.
Certain death?
Over time, dancing also became a way of protecting yourself against the condition, and particular churches developed a cult around this. One of these was in the small town of Galatina, where the Apostle St. Paul
Did
is
the
said-
wasp bite your ass, native atheist, or did it like sting you? Because biting and stinging would be different. I don't know which one would give you wasp powers, but if you get them, bring them to me. I want to become a super villainess called the Murder Hornet, and I'm gonna do Murder Hornet shit.
have stopped on his way to Rome. He was
Mostly to destroy capitalism, so...
offered hospitality by a noble family, and in return he gave them a magic well to cure maladies inflicted by poisonous animals. The well is still there,
Did you get horsefly powers, Helen?
and for centuries, victims of Tarantism and those wishing to protect themselves would come to Galatina to drink from the miraculous well, visit the nearby chapel, and
I hope I don't get the powers of everybody who's bit my ass, because most of the people who've bit my ass have been cis men.
perform the spider dance. In the 1960s, the church condemned the rituals as the dancers could get uncomfortably raunchy, and the well into which the victims had to spit back the water they drank contaminated at least as many people as it cured.
This is how
The
stripping
chapel and the
started.
palazzo in which it was located
The profession of being a stripper began in Tarantism. I have no idea. I just made that up.
fell into disrepair, and was closed off to the public for many years. But the recent resurgence of interest in Tarantism led to a restoration and reopening.
I don't know if I'd want horsefly powers. Do you know what horseflies eat?
And once again, musicians and dancers flocked to Galatina on the 29th of June to play the traditional songs, wave the red scarves that ward off the spiders, and dance the tarantella. Even at the height of the dancing plague, however, not everyone was convinced the strange behaviour had anything to do with spiders. The poet Giovanni Pontano in 1491 thought the whole thing was no more than an excuse for the women of Puglia to engage in lustfulness and shameful acts at harvest time. And Domenico Cirillo, a professor of medicine in Naples, noted entomologist or insect expert, and Fellow of the Royal Society of London, wrote that the surprising cure of the bite of the tarantula by music has not the least truth in it. It is only an invention of the people who want to get a little money by dancing.
Hell yeah. Grifter got a grift. I mean...
Outbreaks of dancing mania unconnected to spider bites occurred in many European countries between the 13th and 17th century.
Talk about some more dancing plagues that happened.
As well as Persia, Ethiopia, and the Americas. These sometimes led to people dancing themselves to death, or to disasters such as the collapse of a bridge across the River Meuse in Maastricht in 1278.
Oh my gosh, Aunt Jur, thank you for pointing that out. It does very much remind me of like a Pentecostal revival. When I was involved with the Pentecostal revival movement that came with glossolalia, which is speaking in tongues, slain in the spirit, shaking, laughing, etc., I did the shaking thing. My grandma told me it was known as St. Peter's dance. Okay.
Which plunged over 200 dancers into the murky waters, many of whom drowned. In Germany, in 1237, a large group of children danced 12 miles between two towns in a trance, twirling and leaping all the way. And it has been suggested that this may be
So there's a show called Evil. I liked it. It takes place in like a universe where Catholicism is like real. But there's a section where some girls get plagued to keep singing this song over and over again. Like they can't stop themselves from singing it. It's like contagious to them.
For the Pied Piper of Hamelin legend. The music that evolved as a cure for the spider bite illness in Italy was called the tarantella, and musicians composing and playing the tunes were regarded more as healers than entertainers. The music is a quick, lively tune with short, repetitive...
My music is also healing. Yeah, let's do this. I'm here to heal you body, mind, and spirit. Yeah. Sounds like we're in tune. No, I'm not really gonna sit here and play music.
Phrases played with increasing tempo. The accompanying lyrics were often suggestive or downright sexually explicit. In 1817, Francesco Cancellieri, in his exhaustive treatise on Tarantism, describes the restorative effects of music. We found the miserable peasant oppressed by difficult breathing, and also observed that his face and hands had begun to turn black. And because his evil was known to all, a guitar was brought, whose harmony immediately began to move first the feet, shortly afterwards the legs. He knelt up, then after a short interval he got up and walked. In the space of a quarter of an hour he would leap 3 palms off the ground. He sighed, but with such great emotion that it brought terror to those around him. And before an hour the black was gone from his hands and from his face. Other cures that were suggested...
Magical dancing cures. I should just give up whatever I'm doing right now and become a healing musician.
...included a brisk ride in the morning, presumably on a horse, alcohol, and love. Spiritual or physical is not clear. It was also thought advisable to tie a ligature if a limb was bitten to contain the poison and ensure recovery. And many believe...
Helen is the best cure for dancing sickness dead carpenter crackers.
That cloths warmed and moistened in wine and wrapped around the naked body were also beneficial. Many sufferers craved water, either to drink or to immerse themselves in. The gentle,
like the opposite of rabies,
murmur of falling water was considered an effective remedy. Some dipped boughs or vines in water.
The sound of running water can be therapeutic. I got the pool right outside and we got a little waterfall on it. And I'd go to sleep to the sound of that.
And moved them as they danced, while others would spend hours watching the movement of the sea until they lost themselves in contemplation, became overwhelmed, and rushed headlong to the waves and drowned. Some physicians were of the opinion that it was beneficial to blister the feet and bathe them in warm water. Others thought the only remedy...
Blistering your feet is never a cure, I don't think. I mean, is there a doctor in the house? I disagree.
...was to scarify the area, cup it, and paint it with a mixture of treacle and bruised garlic. Italian anthropologist
garlic. That'll keep vampires from biting your feet anyway.
Ernesto Di Martino led a multidisciplinary investigation into the phenomenon published in 1961 and concluded that Tarantism was a cultural construction of the rural society of Puglia. Many different theories have been proposed to explain the outbreaks over the years.
That explains the phenomena on its face, but like if people actually die doing this, of course they always make these claims, oh, this many people died, but you don't ever hear about who died. It's never like, oh, and one of those was the daughter of this person, so we have a record of it.
From demonic possession, sunstroke, rabies, ergot or contaminated rye poisoning, or just plain drunkenness. Most modern writers...
They blame ergot for a lot of stuff. The werewolf phenomena, the witch phenomena, the Middle Ages, all that stuff, old werewolf lore, vampire lore, ghost sightings and things like that. A lot of that's blamed on ergot poisoning, but the thing about ergot is if it was that good, why isn't it a recreational drug at this point? I'm just saying, why are we not having ergot parties?
Consider it to be a form of mass hysteria, nowadays termed mass psychogenic disorder. There are lots of examples of mass psychogenic disorder, both contemporary and historical, from the demonic possession of nuns in Loudun in France in the 17th century, which forms the basis of Ken Russell's film The Devils, to the bizarre epidemic of laughing that broke out in East African schoolchildren in 1962. Most incidents of mass psychogenic illness occur within closed, cohesive social settings, schools, factories, convents and hospitals. Episodes typically begin with a single individual exhibiting a variety of ambiguous somatic complaints, which often appear dramatic, such as fainting or hyperventilation, which causes intense anxiety in other group members or observers. Incidents may last anything from a few hours to several years. However,
I wonder how many of these people had some version of Tourette's or epilepsy that got accused of this stuff. Yeah, ergot of the gaps, you're not wrong.
Sociologist Robert Bartholomew has questioned whether it is correct to talk of disorders and diagnoses, and suggests that episodes may involve normal, rational people who possess unfamiliar conduct codes, worldviews, and political agendas that differ significantly.
Well, it's like a spiritual ailment too. Like demonic possession's a spiritual ailment. It's psychosomatic. So even though I don't believe in like supernatural things like demons and stuff like that, going through the rituals can be be psychologically beneficial. And I'm gonna call it the placebo effect. It's not exactly that. It'd be different, but I'm not saying that there's no truth to that people are dealing with maybe a psychological disorder that's being interpreted as an affliction of the spirit.
From those of Western medically trained investigators who judge these behaviours independent of their local context and meanings. Which I think means it's just people doing their own thing.
That is true too. Theo. Dancing and laughing is contagious. I can't tell you how many times I've been like, I hear a song and I'm like, ooh, I like that song. And then someone sees me and they start dancing too. That happened just the other day when we were at the halal place getting lunch. There was a song that came on the radio while I was standing at the register. Actually, it worked in reverse. The lady started dancing first. She started dancing. I'm like, yeah, that's a fucking good beat. And she was looking into it. And then the person that was with me, they started dancing a little bit. So dancing's contagious. Yawning's contagious. Laughing's contagious.
But why should this small area of Italy have been more affected than anywhere else? The spiders are widespread throughout southern Europe. One theory is that it is a throwback to the boozy and licentious cults of Bacchus and Cybele that had been followed for centuries in Puglia, as it had been colonised by the Bronze Age Mycenaeans.
Look at that. That's hot. Look at that hot orgy. Bro's got her up on his shoulders. And he's got this other guy helping him hoist her up.
Greeks. When the Bacchanalian rites were suppressed by the Roman Senate in 186 BC for being too scandalous, even by Roman standards, they went underground, reappearing under the guise of emergency therapy for bite victims. It seems to me that many factors were probably at play rather than there being a single cause, given that it affected people in such a wide variety of ways.
That is not the Therafosa blondie. That is Elassiodora parabana. I know Elassiodora parabana when I see one. I see your striped knees. I see your little pink hairs. You ain't fooling me, friend.
Some cases may have had a genuine organic cause, such as sunstroke or ergot poisoning, and some people may have had an allergic reaction to a tarantula or scorpion bite. But the response to music and dancing can really have no other explanation than hysteria. One historian summed it up by saying, "It is true to say that it affects the hysterical, the melancholic, the depressed, the frustrated, the neurotic, and the mentally deranged, as well as those leading solitary lives, while the bored, the beggars, the malingerers, the rogues, and the swindlers are also vulnerable." Whatever the cause, this condition and its cure, the tarantella, have certainly influenced our global imagination. Dozens of composers have turned their hand to writing music for the dance. It is a key theme in Henrik Ibsen's
It's a who's who of classical composers there.
proto-feminist play A Doll's House, and the Tarantillagra spell appears in the Harry Potter books, causing uncontrollable jerking and twitching in the legs of the person against whom it is being cast. There is a band called Tarantism, and it has even spread to K-pop. So that's the thing with mass hysteria, it's very infectious. But I'm pleased to say I've survived my encounter with this particular Goliath.
There is the Therafosa strimi.
Without having to roll around on the floor or start dancing. So thank you, Martin. Thank you, Therafosa sturmi, and thank you for watching at home. Please subscribe and click the notifications bell if you want to be kept up to date with all the latest videos. I'll see you next time.
I really like this guy. I'm subscribing. Again, this was Professor Graham Yorston, Insane History. So that's who we visited. This video is from 2 years ago, but does he put out new stuff? Yeah. So we've got new stuff that's coming out all the time. 20 hours ago, talking about Charles Manson, which will be in our Charlatans Web episodes coming up in October. In October, we're doing all blood cults for Charlatans Web. My first guest will actually be my roommate, Bo, and we will be covering Narco Satanico, which was a cult in the late 80s at the Mexican-American border. Ouch, I just pulled my earring and it hurt. All right, so what else do we got here? Masters of the American Dream, American Drama. Oh, Tennessee Williams. Captain Ahab, Marlon Brando, Renfield syndrome, real life vampires. Ooh, Dracula's harmless slave. That's interesting. The tormented creator of Moby Dick. The first vampire. Munch. I did a report on Munch in junior high. Castaway. Who was the real castaway? Now there were the castaways from the Bounty. The later years of Mark Twain. So that's giving you an idea what kind of stuff we're looking at. Helsinki syndrome. Van Gogh. Oppenheimer. Ed Gein. Alien limb syndrome. Yeah, so there's some cool stuff here. We'll definitely revisit this channel at some point. There are things to be unpacked. But, yeah. As far as, as far as Tarantism, what do you guys think? Is it actually caused by anything real? Let me know in the comments down below. And as I always say at the end of these segments, please remember to be kind, take care, and we will see you next time. All right, live from the Hive audience. First, let me get caught up on the chat. I still celebrate the Sabbath as the ritual connection, or ritual connects me to memories and connections to people, and have an appreciation for being alive, even though I don't believe anything supernatural anymore. Yeah, I mean, like, I love Halloween and Christmas and stuff like that, the ritual holidays, or Yule, if you will, and Samhain. But I don't believe in anything supernatural, but I think that those are more, for me at least, in modern times, are more reasonable to celebrate than the things that they tack onto it. Well, like they're seasonal markers, right? Like equinoxes and longest days of summer and stuff like that. But I get really annoyed when people who see Pentecostal stuff and say people are faking or stupid. Some people are faking, yes, but it's not all fake. As someone who experienced it, I can tell you, it's like being overwhelmed and losing control of your senses. It's facilitated by a priming of the scenario. Exactly. Yeah. That's like what I say when people what people have experience with ghosts and stuff too. It's like, are cryptids at all? People say they saw Bigfoot. I'm like, no, you did see a ghost. I just don't think it was that it was a ghost. I mean, I believe that you had that experience, but I think that there was some other cause to it than the actual spirit of a dead person. But I do believe you saw the ghost, right? I do believe that you saw Bigfoot in the woods and it was standing upright and everything. But do I believe there's actually a giant hominid out there? No, I think there's some other type of phenomena causing that experience. And I'm that way about most supernatural claims. I'm not going to shame somebody, especially someone who was primed from childhood to have these experiences in a church setting or in a religious setting, to be able to, when we hear this type of music and when everybody gets emotional like this, it causes this reaction, and your body is going to have that reaction because that's what you've been primed to believe is supposed to be happening. Sumami wants her ghost husband. I argue that all the time. Our brains evolved with a basis towards group cohesion. Religion is just another form of social conformity, and community bonding. It is. I just pulled that out of my shorts. It looks like a strap though. Anyway, it's community bonding and socialization and stuff. Rituals are what we do. Even animals have ritual behavior if you ingrain it into them. Brings to mind that panda who was raised by humans, So every time it snaps the bamboo, it grits its teeth like a person. It goes because it was raised by humans, and humans grit their teeth when they break it, which pandas don't do naturally, but the panda does it every time. There's even a video of one time where it snapped it and forgot to do the thing, so it did the thing after. It went and then did the grit because it was taught to break bamboo by people. So it developed this ritual. When you break the bamboo, this is what you do. It doesn't mean that the gritting your teeth causes the bamboo to break, but it doesn't not cause it to break either. So a correlation and causation, but it's a ritual that the animal learned. Social conformity is the act of changing one's behavior, attitude, or belief to align with the norms and expectations of a group. This adjustment often stems from desire to be accepted, fit in, avoid conflict, or a belief that the group holds more accurate information. Child rearing fits the definition. Well, even among us, like when people talk about our woke mob, cancel culture, and all that, we are trying to influence people's behavior by saying, hey, when you do these things that are against the culture that we're trying to develop, you're not going to be allowed in our circles. And then they say we're canceling them, but that's not really the case. It's really just consequence culture. And we're trying to condition people to move away from those negative behaviors that they pick up on for conformity. Like racism is not natural. You aren't naturally going to be like, oh, this person has a darker skin tone than me, so obviously they're less human or something like that. You're not going to naturally have that. It has to be ingrained in you and then reinforced with the culture that surrounds you. So if we cut people off from having access to be able to do that or call people out when we find them doing that, we are helping to develop a better culture for ourselves. Now, I'm going to take an intermission before I do the last segment of the show, which is going to be on man-eating pythons. And you're not going to want to miss this, so stick around. I'm doing the cheesy... What is that? Oh, yeah, it's Holy Spirit. Okay, I'm doing the cheesy... YouTuber thing. You're not going to want to miss what we find out next. I also just noticed that I don't have lashes on today. I forgot when I was doing my makeup this morning. I never did put lashes on, but I'm looking pretty good without them. I look good, but I like lashes because they're fun and fluttery, especially sparkly lashes. All right, I will see you guys in just a minute. We're going to have a short ad for Bad Science Sunday, which is tomorrow night, and then we'll have an intermission, and I'll be back with the Python video. See you there.
If it takes forever, I will wait for you for 1,000 summers. I will wait for you till you're back beside me, till I'm holding you, till I hear you sigh here in my arms. Anywhere
All right, hello, my beauties and bees. Welcome to the bestiary segment of the show where I talk about animals that I love. Now, the summer of the man-eater is officially over. We are in the autumn of the man-eater. So, welcome to autumn of the man-eater. Fall of the man-eater. That doesn't. So if I say fall of the man-eater, it sounds like they fall, and they don't. They freaking rise. They say, oh, humans are on the top of the food chain? I don't think so. And so far on Summer of the Man-Eater, what have we covered so far? Let's look. Let's have a look. Should be all the way back. Okay, so we started Summer of the Man-Eater with hyenas. We talked about both spotted and striped hyenas and their prevalence for munching down on humans. And then we had the bull shark, because, come on, bull sharks, when it comes to sharks, they're the big problem. They're the ones that are going to come up in the shallow and take a chunk out of you. Then we did tigers, which are a big cat that sees humans as a viable prey. Perhaps the most famous man-eater of all, the great white shark. That's how I want to go out. I'd like to be eaten by a great white shark. That'd be pretty cool and epic. Then we did leopards. Leopards are prevalent man-eaters. They just grab people left and right in India. At least they did at the end of the 19th and beginning of the 20th century. And then Jim Corbett showed up and put an end to that. We talked about bears. Specifically, we talked about man-eating brown bears, and what we covered there was the Japanese the bear attack that was like insane. So that was our bear attack. Then we had the lions, man-eating lions, and of course I got to talk about the lions of Savo when that comes up. It's Ghost in the Darkness and all that. Then we had tiger sharks, not to be confused with tigers or with other sharks. Tiger sharks, not as famous as when it comes to man-eaters as great whites, but they do eat a lot of people, especially in the Pacific. And they will eat anything. Tiger sharks are sometimes called the garbage dump of the ocean. Then we had polar bears. Polar bears also see us as food because there ain't nothing else out there to eat on that ice. So they might as well take advantage of the snacks when they show up. Then we had saltwater crocodiles. Salties, of course, the biggest reptiles on the planet. And they are not going to turn their nose up at a delicious, tasty human snack. And then we had, last week we had pumas or cougars or mountain lions, however you want to spin it. But they also are not really prevalent as far as man-eaters, but when they do, they do, and we have to handle it, unfortunately. Excuse me. So this week I am doing pythons, man-eating pythons that eat people. Now, I guess we kind of lucked out as a Hive, because my friend and frequent visitor of the side chat, you might see in here sometimes, Thomas of Wild World, and his channel is doing great, 125k subscribers, excellent channel, and he does animal videos about pet chimps attack. We have mammoths coming back, piranha, dire wolf. We did the dire wolf too. The deadly white lion. Maybe we should have called that a man-eating white lion. He did a killer puma episode too recently. Sewer gators. But today he's going to tell us, and I did get his permission to do this, by the way. He's going to tell us about man-eating pythons. And we may actually go over a little bit on today's show, but that's all right. Generally, the pythons are better than anything else at killing. They hug you to death.
Stood as an enchanting jewel in the vast Indonesian archipelago. These remote volcanic islands were coveted for their precious spices, At the time, they were the only place on Earth where nutmeg and mace were grown, and it was here that the Dutch East India Company set its sights. In 1638, Antonio van Diemen, the Governor-General of the Dutch East India Company, wrote a report of his visit to the islands, including the description of a horrific event. On the island of Gunung Api, an enslaved woman was working in the garden when she met her demise. A huge snake grabbed her, and unable to escape, the woman was strangled and then swallowed whole. The snake, reported to be about 7 meters long, 23 feet, was slow after swallowing a human, and Dutch soldiers were able to shoot it and bring it to the Governor-General. The victim...
That is a big-ass snake. 23-foot snake is nothing to mess with. I wouldn't recommend anybody handle a snake longer than their height without assistance.
was still inside the snake. Van Diemen didn't describe the species, but there was only one kind of snake in the area that matched the description and size: the reticulated python.
Such a pretty snake. Look at the iridescent scaling. Oh my
When
God.
it comes to large
retics are fucking beautiful.
snakes, the green anaconda seems to take the spotlight. Going by overall mass, they are generally considered the largest snakes in the world. The reticulated python, however, is generally considered the longest, and while the anaconda has a reputation of being dangerous, there aren't any...
The anaconda is largely aquatic, whereas the retic is largely arboreal. So, buoyancy in the water, right?
Any recorded deaths from wild anacondas, though when you read about some close calls that biologists have had, I imagine there were some deaths that just weren't recorded. On the other hand, when it comes to the reticulated python, we have some much clearer accounts of fatalities. Today we are going to look at some of those accounts as well as reasons why attacks, which to be fair are rare...
Is it a rainbow boa? Or a, what species of boa is Loki? Is he just a boa constrictor? So boa constrictors can get a lot bigger than 3.5 feet.
Thank you.
Thank you, PC.
Rising as time continues. Before I begin, thank you to my patrons, and thank you, dear viewer, for clicking on this video. Now, the reticulated python has a fairly large range through South and Southeast Asia. They are apparently pretty great swimmers too, and have been found far out at sea. So we are going to be bouncing around a bit when looking at some reports. Let's start in the Philippines, with research that suggests humans and retics have been coming into conflict for quite a while. In a 2011 paper titled Hunter-Gatherers and Other Primates as Prey, Predators, and Competitors of Snakes, the authors spoke about the rocky relationship between the snakes and modern Filipino hunter-gatherers. In the paper they report that, out of 120 people, 26% of adult males had survived predation attempts by reticulated pythons, and unfortunately...
That's a high number.
There had been 6 fatalities between 1934 and 1973. There seems to be an interesting relationship between the hunter-gatherers and the snakes. The people also hunt the pythons to eat, but not only that, they also eat deer and wild pigs and monkeys, which are also eaten by pythons. So the people and the snakes were, quote, reciprocally prey, predators, and potential competitors. This gives an interesting perspective on how complex ecological interactions have long characterized our shared evolutionary history. This could also give some partial insight into why many fear snakes, as they may have hunted not only us, but our pre-human ancestors.
I mean, we know that primates in general have a aversion to snakes. We've always not liked snakes. You have to make yourself like snakes.
Millions of years ago. No snakes specialize in primates, but some regularly predate them. For example, reticulated pythons take lorises, tarsiers, and several...
When I hear deer viewer, I think of Thought Potato, which is a world-building channel that gives fake biology and ecology to monsters, like vampires and werewolves and stuff. He calls everybody deer viewer.
Species of monkeys, although I imagine venomous snakes also have a big role to play in that fear. Now again, it seems for these modern hunter-gatherer groups most attacks occur on men, and this is presumably because they are going deeper into the rainforest for game and edible plants, and sometimes that game is the pythons. However, that's not where all the attacks occurred. One incident involved a python entering a thatched home and killing 2 children. It was apparently in the process of swallowing one when the father returned and killed the snake with his knife. So while
How to get 2 children? That's wild.
some attacks happen when people are going hunting, sometimes people encounter the snake unintentionally, and on rare occasions this can lead to death. There's an account recorded by Franz Werner, an Austrian explorer and herpetologist. The account comes from Indonesia in the early 20th century. A jeweler and some of his friends went hunting in the district of Tatton, but unfortunately for them, they were hit by a violent hurricane. The men rushed to find some shelter. The jeweler, a man named Chine, decided he would take shelter in a tree, so he moved away from the others in the group and went to climb a tree, taking his shoes off first for better grip.
Climbing a tree in a storm? That sounds like a good way to get hit by lightning.
After some time had passed, though, he hadn't come down from the tree, and the friends started to search for him. But all they found were his shoes and hat. Well, that's not all they found. They also found a large, reticulated python, about 6 meters long, that had just swallowed something. They killed the snake and quartered it, and inside, they found Chine's body. A little over a decade later, we get 2 other accounts from
That's why I'm lucky enough to be too fucking big for a snake to eat. I don't think a snake could get its jaws around these shoulders and titties. I just don't think it's going to happen. But these little Asian hunter-gatherer people with their slender, tiny jungle builds slide right down the gullet. Sometimes it's beneficial to be a big fat American.
Kopstein, another Austrian biologist, that published an article in Tropische Natura. Kopstein had lived and worked in the East Indies for many years, and he reported 2 cases. One of a 14-year-old boy who was attacked and swallowed by a 5-meter reticulated python. Again, the boy was discovered after the snake was killed and torn open. And another adult woman had also been swallowed by another large python. These stories are second-hand accounts from Werner and Kopstein, so perhaps certain details aren't quite exact. Now, many of these accounts, it seems people were caught off guard, and perhaps...
I mean, obviously some of it's going to be a game of telephone on the stories, too. How big the snake was, and how many people have been eaten and whatnot.
Perhaps they didn't even realize one of the snakes was nearby when the attack happened. But this next account is a little different, and concerns an attack by an apparent pet reticulated python.
No, that's a whole different ball game. That's like when we talk about meat-eating tigers, we didn't talk about the ones that were in captivity, right? We talk about orcas. We're going to have to talk about captivity. Yeah, I get stuck on my booty. You think, Aunt Jer? Get stuck on my hips and my thickness. Sorry. Not sorry.
This account comes from the 1930s, from Fran Buck, an animal hunter and collector who made many trips into Asia to collect and hunt animals. He wrote about a pet reticulated python in the Philippines that had escaped, and apparently this was a huge python, allegedly 25 feet long, or 7.6 meters.
Insanely
A bit
long.
later in this video we'll talk about how big these snakes can get, but for now, a large snake escaped, and as you can imagine, they wanted to find it, and they did. When it was found, though, it also had a large shape inside it, and I guess they figured it must have been a human, or someone realized someone had gone missing. Either way, they opened the snake, and apparently a child was found inside, the son of the snake owner. I feel like certain details around this story are a little bit odd, perhaps sensational, like the size of the snake. Though I do think it's possible someone was killed by a pet snake around that time, as in more recent years people have been killed by pet reticulated pythons. In 2008, a man returned home to find his wife's body in front of their pet snake's empty tank. The python, which was apparently 13 foot long, was found in the bedroom by police. The woman seemed to have died from asphyxiation. The python seemed to have attacked when the woman had tried to give the snake medication. It was reported in the local newspaper that the
So a python could kill me, but I just don't think it could eat me.
woman was an experienced handler and reptile department worker at an animal shop. Thankfully, you don't hear about many pet reticulated pythons killing their owners, but considering the size they can get to, it seems they are probably not a good idea for beginners, but rather experienced herpetology lovers. And even then, there's still an element of risk.
There are miniature retics that you can get too.
According to the book Tales of Giant Snakes, A Historical Natural History of
That's true. Who's your buddy? Absolutely.
Anacondas and Pythons, there was an attack in 1995 in the southern Malaysian state of Johor. The victim was a 29-year-old rubber tapper who had been caught off guard. The victim was found by their brother. The brother called the police, who shot the python 4 times, but unfortunately the man died. The snake was reported to be 23 feet, 7 meters long, and weighed about 300 pounds, or 136 kilos. At this point I want to shift focus a little, as there are some...
I'm questioning that weight. 300-pound snake? I had done a video about giant snakes. That was with Dragons and Genesis way back in, way back in 2021.
Very large size claims in some of these attacks, and when it comes to reticulated pythons and most big snakes, we get some very large size claims. It might not be directly related to attacks, but since it's coming up, we may as well take a quick look. I guess this video will temporarily turn into a
That's just a human problem.
Big video. Now, there are a lot of size claims out there, but as mentioned many times before, humans aren't particularly good at estimating animal sizes, and tend to overestimate with large animals, especially snakes. So we are only going to look at snakes that were measured. There is a paper from 2005 titled Predation on Sun Bears by Reticulated Pythons in East Kalimantan, Indonesian Borneo, that seems to contain the longest reticulated python measured in the wild. The team spent multiple hours sedating the snake with low dosages of drugs so they could measure the snake accurately. The python measured 6.9 meters and weighed 59 kilos. A bit light considering the length, but the python apparently hadn't eaten in months. And what about in captivity? Well, the snake known as Colossus was one of the most famous reticulated pythons ever, but their size seems to be a little difficult to say for certain. In 1951, it was apparently measured at 23 foot.
I ran into that too when I was trying to manage, you're not wrong, when I was doing my video on giant snakes. Anyway.
Inches,
Colossus.
a little over 7 meters, and then a little later at 8.28 meters, 27 foot 2 inches, and he apparently weighed 133 kilos, or 295 pounds, after not eating for 4 months. He was then also apparently measured in November of the same year at 8.69 meters, 28 feet 6 inches. Pretty incredible, but after Colossus died, he was apparently measured at 7.31 meters, 23.9 feet. We also have the skeleton and skin of Colossus. The skeleton was measured at 6.35 meters, 20 foot 10 inches, and the skin measured 7.29 meters, 23 feet 11 inches.
But the skin can be stretched too.
Length. It seems that the previous accounts were either exaggerated or the method used to measure wasn't very accurate. There is a good chance, though, that Colossus may have been the heaviest snake.
I mean, Titanoboa would have definitely been able to eat me.
Especially considering in certain pictures, the snake, unfortunately, looks quite obese. We also have, or had, Fluffy, considered to be the largest reticulated python in captivity until her death in October 2010. According to Guinness World Records, Fluffy was measured on the 30th of September 2009.
Her head looks kind of tiny, actually. Not tiny, but small. When I think of a record size, I've seen snakes at like the zoo that had heads that big, that were way bigger than what we're seeing if this is Fluffy.
And she was found to be over 7.3 meters, 24 feet long. However, there was a Nat Geo show that seemed to suggest otherwise. In a show named How Big Can It Get? Snakezilla, we get different measurements. In previous videos, I sometimes questioned the measurements of Nat Geo, but in this show, we see the zookeepers measure Fluffy using a pretty good method, placing a piece of string along the dorsum of the snake, following the curves of the body, and then measuring the piece of string in a straight line separately. And they got a total length of 6.12 meters, 20 feet 1 inch. And she weighed 99.4 kilos, so about 220 pounds. There was also a snake named Cassius that was reported to be 8.38 meters, 27 foot 6 inches, and weighing 108 kilos, 240 pounds. However, they were later revised to be 7.7 meters.
We have eastern indigo snakes out here. I've never seen one, but they're apparently they're out here in the out in the west Texas town of El Paso.
25 feet 6 inches and weighing 118 kilos, 260 pounds. The thing is, we don't know what method was used to measure the snake, so maybe we should be a little bit cautious accepting the measurements. They also came from the Guinness Book of Animal Facts and Feats, 1982 edition. I'm not sure how reliable of a source that is, so...
I don't think a Guinness Book is a very reliable source for animals in general. They don't seem to, or at least back in the 80s especially, because I had a Guinness Book of World Records book that said that there was a 35-foot great white shark that was caught. That's ridiculous.
We don't know how it was measured. Speaking of the Guinness World Records, according to them, the largest reticulated python, actually largest living snake in captivity, is a female named Medusa in Kansas City, Missouri. She was reportedly measured at 7.67 meters, 25 feet 2 inches, and was estimated to weigh 158 kilos or 350 pounds. However, it doesn't mention if the measurements were taken by an official or supplied by the people who own Medusa. And remember, Guinness World Records previously said the fluff...
And I think that this is the one my brother went to see maybe in Kansas City at like an expo or something. Medusa. But her head also looked kind of small for what the claim they're making about her.
Was 7.3 meters, 24 feet long, but when she was measured on camera using the string method, she was 6.12 meters, 20 feet 1 inch long. So maybe, perhaps, Medusa is actually that big, but hard to say for 100% certain. There are a few other unverified claims. Samantha from the Bronx Zoo was measured at 6.4 meters, 21 feet, and weighed...
I would love to go herping out here in the desert, Helen. Yeah.
79.4 kilos. Now, those measurements are on video, but she was then estimated to have grown to 7.9 meters, 26 feet, but these measurements aren't verified. There are also accounts of a 33-foot, 10-meter long python from the 1940s, but we have no remains preserved, so it's hard to verify if that's real. And you know, on the last anaconda video, someone said I didn't do my research because there was a 37-foot long, 11-meter anaconda somewhere in South America. Well, here's the thing. The only source I can get on that is the 1982 edition of the Guinness World Record Animal Edition, and we have no evidence of this snake. We don't have any photographs.
Do not just trust Guinness Book because they said so.
We don't have any bones, we don't have any skin, so I don't consider that to be verified. In fact, maybe this is a hot take, but I don't know if any living snake can exceed or even reach 30 feet. Many sources will say reticulated pythons and anacondas get to and exceed 30 feet, but there isn't any real evidence of this.
It's all a fugazi. You know what a fugazi is? Fugazi. It's fake. Yeah, fugazi. It's a wazi. It's a woozy. It's a fairy dust. It doesn't exist. It's never landed. It is no matter. It's not on the elemental chart. It's not real. Right? All right.
The very big anacondas have been recorded.
Yes, thank you, Tom. Thomas. I don't know if you... I call you Tom, but yeah. For clarifying that, because I hear that. I still get those arguments. No, 30-foot snakes are real. They've been recorded. No, they haven't.
18, 19, 20 feet, and the leading expert puts their max at about 22 feet. And when we look at the reticulated python, the max verified measurement is about 20 feet 1 inch, and possibly up to 25 feet. But neither have gotten close to 30 feet, let alone exceed it. There have been cash rewards for snakes exceeding 30 feet, starting with Teddy Roosevelt in 1910, who wanted it for a pet. Then the Bronx Zoo got involved. The reward...
Teddy Roosevelt wanted it as a pet. That dude was... Whoa!
would grow from $1,000 to $5,000, reaching $15,000 in 1978, until finally peaking at $50,000 in 1980. A few years ago, I watched a documentary titled Big Snake. Originally, it came out in 1999. about a man named Robert Twigger, an Aikido instructor who learned about the cash prize and tried to go out and get a living 30-foot snake. A newspaper claimed the Taiping Zoo in Malaysia had a 30-foot snake, so Robert went there. But when he did, he asked the zookeeper if the snake was 30 feet long, and the keeper said he didn't think so. But Robert had gone a long way, so they measured the snake anyway. It was 21 feet 3 inches long.
That's a big-ass snake. And its head looks like I expect its head to be.
He asked other people who worked with snakes, including the Snake Brothers, Muhammad and Hossan Ali, about a 9 to 10 meter, 30-foot python, and he got the same response. I don't think there are 10-meter reticulated pythons. He then hired an Indonesian poet as an interpreter and went to the Baru Island looking for snakes. And there were a lot of stories of big snakes that sometimes didn't seem so big when they found them, though they did find a 17-foot, 5.5 meter python.
And that is a huge snake. A 17-foot long snake is a monster of an animal.
He then went to Saram and, along with the interpreter, asked the local people to help him find a 30-footer, or a 9 to 10 meter snake. He offered cash, but he didn't tell them about the 50k reward. There also seemed to be some issues between Robert and the interpreter, Bram, as he thought they were going to catch the snake for all the wrong reasons. He also thought the people deserved a cut of the reward, and that he should discuss it with them. Robert didn't, but he offered about $700 for a big snake. They caught and measured a large snake that, when they measured it, was about 23 feet long, about 7 meters. The snake...
So this snake was measured and was slightly longer than the 2005 wild-caught specimen at 6.9 meters. The 7-meter snake was measured quickly with a tape measure and not with a string method, so measurement may not be 100% accurate, yeah.
Was then killed and eaten. The prize would stay there until 2002, when it was discontinued. Possibly because they didn't want more harm coming to wild snakes.
True.
But I'm not sure. Others have also offered rewards though. Mathis Fiorelli, sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, commented under the Anaconda video about a Brazilian biologist and YouTuber who is offering a cash prize for anyone who can show him proof of a living and breathing 9-meter anaconda. And apparently the prize has been there for quite a while. There is also another YouTuber, Brian Barksick, who offers a $50,000 reward for a living, healthy snake.
And he's passed away since this video was made. He was kind of controversial, but yeah, he did try to do a lot of work to legitimize the herp industry, but there's been some questionable things. I don't know. I don't want to get into it here.
30 feet long. You can find details about it on their channels. Now, some might say that we haven't explored every corner of the various rainforests and jungles, which is true, but many people have gone searching for a 30-footer. And also, many people have captive green anacondas and reticulated pythons. And again, no official measurements of any snakes above, at, or near 30 feet. So I'm a bit skeptical. Now, maybe one day we will find a 30-foot snake. And the best contender is probably the reticulated python. But I guess we have to wait and see. Back to the attacks.
There's a few contenders, though, particularly a python. We mentioned the green anaconda and the African rock python, the Burmese python, all get huge. There's my snake guy right there. Hey, Dragons in Genesis. Jason's the snake handler that I had on when I did my giant snake video.
The next attack happened near a luxury hotel on Indonesia's resort island of Bali. A large python had been seen in the area multiple times. One night in December, the python was spotted crossing the road near the hotel. A security guard at a nearby restaurant offered to help capture the snake, as I guess the hotel and local business owners were worried about tourists. So he managed to secure the python's head and tail, and he then put the snake on his shoulders. The python then wrapped around the man and strangled him to death. In the paper it reads, people watching the incident were unable to help and called the police, who came but failed to save.
You can help unwrap somebody if they're getting strangled by a snake. You start with the tail. You just kind of uncoil it.
The man. The python escaped into nearby bushes, and police were still searching for it. It doesn't sound like this was a predation event, but rather the python freaked out and became defensive when it was captured. It doesn't dilute the incident, though. It seems like the man was just trying to help, and the fact that he picked it up sounds like he just wanted to capture it or move it, rather than hurt or kill it. Now, though there are earlier accounts that we've gone through of people being eaten by a python, some of the earlier sources are second-hand accounts and reports without much evidence. Some consider an attack in 2017 the first fully confirmed case of a person being eaten by a python. Akbar, a young man of only 25 years, ventured into the dense palm oil plantations one fateful Sunday to harvest the valuable palm oil. But as the sun dipped below the horizon that
Say no to palm oil. The orangutans will thank you. Say no to palm oil.
evening, Akbar did not return. Panic gripped the villagers as the hours turned into 24 hours. Something was terribly wrong. The villagers, desperate to find their missing friend, scoured the plantations, their flashlights cutting through the dark. Their search took an eerie turn when they stumbled upon a massive serpent, a reticulated python reported to be 7 meters, 23 feet in length. Fear gripped the villagers as they suspected the unthinkable. Had the snake swallowed their Akbar? The police were summoned and a grim discovery awaited them. Cameras recorded as the python was cut open, inch by inch, revealing a grisly secret within. There, in his work attire, lay Akbar, lifeless, his fate sealed by the suffocating embrace of the colossal python. Though this is sometimes considered the first confirmed case of a person being eaten, it wouldn't be the last. The next year, a 54-year-old woman went missing one night while attending to a garden that was about half a mile from her house, but she didn't return. A search party was formed and a large...
And the fact that it happened in 2017, I mean, we can assume that for the last few tens of thousands of years, many people have been eaten by pythons.
Reportedly 7 meter, 23-foot python was found, and when it was cut open, a woman was inside. In October 2022, a similar incident happened with a 52-year-old woman in West Tanjung Jabung Regency, Jambi, Indonesia. She was killed and swallowed whole by a 6 meter, 19-foot 8-inch reticulated python. Again, she was reported missing, and then after a search, a python with a bulge was found, and when it was cut open, she was inside. It is pretty rare for pythons to attack people.
See, that's where Carol Baskin went wrong. You don't feed it to a tiger. You got to feed it to a shark, or not shark. You can feed it to a shark too. You got to feed them to a python. You know.
Though it seems that in recent years that there may have been a few more recorded attacks. Now this may just be because reporting on incidents has improved and increased, though there are some theories that attacks may increase as time continues. And why is that? Well, Indonesia and Malaysia account for 85% of global palm oil exports. The thing is, palm oil deforestation doesn't just destroy the snake's habitat, it also draws the big snakes into closer contact with humans. The palm oil plants are
That's what I was just talking about. Palm oil is evil. No, I don't know about evil. I don't really believe that evil is a concept, but palm oil is bad for the earth and the animals that live on it.
And for rodents and other small animals that feed on the fatty, energy-dense fruit, and then the snakes come in to hunt the rats. Doug Boucher, a scientific advisor for the Union of Concerned Scientists, stated that they're not coming after us. In various ways, either directly or by our actions with changing land use, we're coming after them. He also said, you have these sudden encounters. It's not that the snakes are attacking, they're just not expecting people. The reticulated pythons are certainly powerful animals that need to be respected and treated with extreme caution. But I think it's a bit of...
But if you kill all the orangutans, then they don't have any primates to eat, then they're going to be like, hey, there's a primate to eat and eat your mom.
A stretch to try and characterize them as evil creatures, especially since the
palm oil industry, you can't characterize it as evil creatures.
Don't always treat them so well either. There was a pretty disgusting case in Singapore where 2 men dragged a python into a market and while laughing kicked and dragged the python before chopping its head off. And the python wasn't attacking anybody, they just did it for entertainment, I guess. According to a paper, Reticulated Pythons in Sumatra, Biology, Harvesting and Sustainability, hundreds of thousands of reticulated pythons are taken from the wild to be killed for their skins each year. They're also used for traditional medicine.
Hundreds of thousands? Oh man, that's a lot.
And many are captured and sold as pets, which they are apparently treated quite badly when they are captured from the wild, so probably better to get a captive bred one if you're going to get one. But anyway, due to these reasons, it is considered...
And they have the dwarf ones available now that won't get big enough to eat you.
...to be one of the most economically important reptiles worldwide. Now, I don't particularly like the idea about snakes being killed just to be turned into a handbag, but to be completely transparent, the practice is considered sustainable, and the IUCN considers them to be of least concern. And they did do a lot of research, including going to multiple python processing facilities in Indonesia and Malaysia, where they also measured thousands of pythons taken from the wild, none of which were 30 feet, and it seems like it was sustainable, and other research papers seem to agree. But the bottom line is that while the reticulated python is definitely an animal that one should be very cautious around, as is the case with most animals, we are a much bigger threat to them than they are to us. Anyway,
True.
Thanks again to my patrons, and thanks for watching. I hope you have a good day.
Thank you, Wild World. Like I said earlier, this is Thomas's channel, and it does really good. He doesn't need my support to get people to go there and subscribe, but you should go subscribe. Actually, I'm going to ring the bell so I can get updates when he has new stuff coming out. So I can't watch the members only stuff because I'm not a member. So you all want to buy me a membership so I can watch his pet chimp attack. What's going to be? I'm assuming it's going to be about Travis, but regardless, thank you for sticking around for Breeze Bestiary. I am skinnier than I think. Anyway, I am happy that you were able to learn about pythons and their and their proclivity for preying on humans, or lack thereof, in my opinion. It's like so rare that it's like a non-factor. Next week for Summer of the Man-Eater. I don't even have anything up yet. I have the thumbnails for it. I just don't have. So let's look there. That's what I'm going to do. I might do a poll on it, actually, and let you guys pick which ones we cover moving forward. Because for man-eaters, right now what we have left, we have a lot left, don't get me wrong. Okay, so we've covered alright, so we got wolves, we've got jaguars, we've got American black bear, American alligator, leopard seals, sloth bears, dingoes, hogs, Komodo dragons, piranhas, orcas, coyotes, squids, and rats. So all of those that we can have to cover for man-eaters. Lindsey Graham is a man-eater. Don't even think about that. Come on now. I can't believe a snake ate a fully grown human. Some small kid, perhaps. Yeah, these small people. They're people from Asian haplogroups, which tend to be small. Yeah, the jaguar is one big cat we haven't covered yet, so we'll have to do that one. Yes, and a dingo, and we're going to talk about a dingo ate my baby on that episode. So I will put a poll up, I think, for what we have left. I'll poll through what we have left until they're all gone, and then we'll start covering something else besides man-eaters. Yeah, leopard seals, absolutely. Leopard seals predation is kind of. We'll talk about it when the episode comes up, but yeah. So thank you so much for sticking around for Breeze Bestiary. Please remember to be kind, take care, and we will see you next time. All right. Oh yeah, I gotta blow my kiss. There we go. All right. Seriously though, thank you guys for joining. If you want to vote on those polls or any of the polls for what we cover on the show, it's gonna be on the community page for the Hive. So you got to go there and vote. There's other stuff to vote on too, because I'm kind of trying to mix things up a little bit. We do have Charlatan's Web coming up on Monday. Going to keep it on Monday for now. We are covering Raelians. We'll have a special guest host. I got to confirm that. That's why I haven't set it up yet. But we'll have a guest host. So stick around for that. And the channel's going to redirect you to R and Ross channel if you stick around here. Later this afternoon, we got 3 hours left until Holy Spirits, but we got Holy Spirits, Dr. Ben's channel with Drew Beckius and Les Clindonin. Holy Spirits is hilarious, so you're not going to want to miss this. And yeah, I guess that wraps things up for the day for me. This is the longest I've gone in a long time, 3 hours and 14 minutes. That's pi, y'all. 3.14. All right. Please remember to be kind, take care, and we will see you next time.